Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you here. Hopefully your weekend was good. Mine, I worked, and then I had like a birthday, kinda. I had cake. My wife makes
Wait,
red. Well, my wife makes red velvet cake for me once a year.
your
Um,
birthday? Wait a minute.
yeah,
Chester's birthday? How old is Chester now?
I am 55.
55. Can you
Mhm.
drive 55 though? That's
Well, I
I know that
I
song
could
is so
drive 155 still.
Mm.
But yeah, it was weekend. I did watch some movies though, which
Uh-oh.
was kind of nice because we have some kind of health issues with the older people around here, and my wife's been running around like like a mother would, and I had free time, so I watched some movies.
Being a good, citizen, Chester, a good
Good,
citizen of your area. That's
that's
all
right.
she's doing.
Good daughter. Yeah, no, she is.
Taking care of the old folks.
No, she is good at that. And I am good because I don't get in the way.
That's a good man. When you're not good at something, PSA, when you're not good at something or not inclined to do something, just don't do it. Stay out of the way.
Oh no, no,
Stay
that's
right out of
true.
the way.
Well, a lot of people, even though I think it's kind of subconscious for adults, they get a little
Mm.
jealous if someone, their significant other is giving a significant amount of their time to others.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and people get a little bit, oh, I don't feel good, or kind of just silly human tricks, that people get up
Yep.
to. I don't subscribe to such thoughts.
It's all that Chad energy, Chester, that's why. It's all that Chad energy. You know you're the man, you're like, "No, I'm the man. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. I'm the man."
Now,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of
No,
true. It's also just
the
logic.
truth of the matter is, all data shows that
Mhm.
that mindset, even though people are like, "That's arrogant." Okay. Yeah, but it works.
Oh
Your
yeah,
whole life gets better if you just think you're awesome all the time. There's no downside to it other than other people might get upset, but who cares what they think?
it's
That's their
true.
problem.
That is true. And of course, I think there's a lot of people in the West, particularly the progressives, that might learn a lesson or two from that, because they're quite the opposite of arrogance. It's self-destruction,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? And
Severe self-loathing.
yes,
Severe.
and they just don't understand why we're living on stolen land and we don't let people come in. And it's like, well, first of all, we did buy most of it, and we even bought Manhattan. We paid glass beads for it. Those are quite valuable.
Big
Um,
old glass beads.
yeah,
Lovely.
yeah. Well, the
Best
funny
deal ever
thing,
made.
well, it was a good deal. But the thing a lot of these progressives don't get, that they don't understand, and I
Oh,
actually
there's
think
nobody
the other
gets.
side doesn't get it either. The migration isn't the problem.
Mm,
It isn't. Now you say we have laws and we need to be a country of laws, as with every country in the world, and that is a true
mhm,
statement, right?
mhm,
But the migration isn't the issue. The issue is all of these various, consistently blue states and areas taking taxpayer money and giving it to these migrants.
mm,
That's the
mhm,
issue. That's the actual issue.
mm.
Because throughout this history, as we've mentioned
Subsidizing
on
it.
the yeah, yeah, well, during the history of this country, as we've mentioned here before, we've had a lot of migration. We are a
Yes.
country of immigrants, are we not?
Well,
But well,
you
during
might
that,
be.
well, my
White
ancestors
boy.
were, my ancestors were, but um, what they don't mention is a great number of those people who did migrate themselves to the states migrated themselves back because they couldn't hack it.
That's right. They didn't like freedom. You're like,
Well,
"Ah,
they
can't
couldn't
do it.
handle it,
Can't be
and
responsible for myself. Sorry.
s-
I'll just go
well,
over here."
and therefore it was self-regulating. And then we went
Yeah.
and put in this dumb idea of welfare,
Mhm.
right? Whereas the Christian church, charity, was kind of handling that. And by
As it
putting
should.
in welfare, which you not only did was remove the father because now the state is Big Daddy, you've also diminished the church, which, I don't care what you think, the Protestant church, whatever form it comes in, even the Catholics to a point, is extremely valuable thing to have in your society.
Yes.
Trust me, you don't want to live in a society that doesn't have some manner of Protestant, Protestant beliefs.
Purity. Hmm.
You don't want it. You don't want it. I mean, I guess over here with the Buddhists, it's certainly nowhere near as bad as it can get, but the Buddhists are just lackluster. They
They're
have
kind of
no way.
assholes.
They have no ethos.
They're kind of pricks when you think about it, because it's a very self-centered thing, Buddhism,
Oh,
right?
it
It's all about
is.
going inside, blah 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 blah.
And
Whereas
becoming
Christianity
God.
has that too, but the point of doing that is to be better at loving your neighbor, is to be better at loving humanity,
Yeah.
to become more like
Yeah.
God's love, as the Bible says. Um, that's the point of focusing on making sure inside's right. It's not just so you can become great and God and blah blah or whatever Buddhists are about. It's about you take in this, fix this, so then you can bless other people. It's about sharing the wealth, which is why what you mentioned, how the state replaced the church in charity and things,
Yeah.
which is why one of the reasons they did this with the socialists and the Marxists. It's so disgusting when they try and say, "Well, Jesus was a socialist." I will slap the white off of your face, because let's be honest, you're probably white. I'm
Yeah. You're
slapping the white
definitely
off
white.
of your face.
Yeah.
Jesus was not a socialist. He was not, and he's a theocrat, for crying out loud. Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about? He was
I
definitely
know.
not a socialist.
It's such a weird concept. Maple Chic says, "No, I'm done seeing brown people everywhere I go. If I wanted that, I would go to the brown lands." Well, to be fair,
The Brownlands.
the color of them isn't what's bugging you. It's culture, right? If Because I guarantee if you go around you and you find some alleged brown person, or yellow person or red person, whatever, but they have the same thoughts and the same culture as you guys automatically get along, right? It's not
Um,
really a color thing. It's a
I'll,
culture
I
thing.
will I will mostly concur with you, but I do understand where he's coming from, and
Sure.
I'll give you an
Because they're all
example. There's a
foreigners.
guy I
They're not
know.
the same
His
culture.
name his name is I'll just say his first name. It's not his real name. He changed it to this. Well, it's not his birth name. His name is Gary. He is as Persian as the day is long, this man. He's awesome, though. He's one of these dudes who can talk his way out of any situation. He's just that guy. He can
Yeah.
talk. He can just da 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 da. I seen him. I watched him run game on a woman. I said, "Whoa, all right, he's at a different level than me. He was crazy. He had this girl from yes to yes, if you catch my meaning,
Oh
in
yeah.
about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he had her." And his name's Gary. He's Persian, Iranian. He came here because his son was gay. So he had to get the hell out of the Middle East, effectively.
Fair enough.
Got out of the Middle East, came here, changed his name, changed his last name. You wouldn't know. He basically just looks like a dark-skinned Italian. You would have no idea that he was Persian if he didn't tell you it. And he's completely like, yeah, he'll hang out with the other Persians, but other than that, he's completely American. He's basically,
Well,
the way the man talks, you would think he was trying to sell you something every time. And
you
sometimes he was, but usually that's just how he talks.
that's where the Italians came from anyway, right?
Oh, don't tell them that. Don't.
Sorry.
They don't like knowing it.
All right, fine. Anyway, Gary.
Gary. That's it. Gary's just an example, because there's this narrative online, and it's largely is the truth when you look at the data. But there are exceptions. There's this narrative online that nobody ever assimilates. Well, some people actually do, because they have to. The problem isn't that people don't assimilate. The problem is that there's no incentive for them to. Why?
Right.
We're so giving, so welcoming. We'll roll out the red carpet and change our languages and put their language on signs and on our phones and all this stuff. And saying, no, you have to speak English.
Right.
Simple. That's simple. That's baseline. You have to speak English, which should be easy for most people in the world nowadays, because fucking everybody speaks English.
Yeah.
You have to understand basic things about your civil rights if you're going to be an American, and those around you, so you don't violate them. And just stuff like that, right? Just basic
Right.
civil service. I have no problem with that. I think it should go even further. What annoys me is when you get foreigners who come over here. They're here for a generation or two. Fine. All right, welcome. Don't cause trouble. And then they start telling us how we're supposed to behave. No,
Oh yeah.
you shut up. You just
Oh
be
yeah.
quiet.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Look,
No.
go on. Come on and play.
And
We'll let you in. You can make your money. You can live a good life. But shut up. You
yeah.
don't get to tell us, who've been here for 1,000 years, some of us, like my family, how we're supposed to behave in our country. You're a guest.
Right. Well, that's the insidious nature of welfare, you see.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas before there was a safety check involved because there you have to come over and make it. Therefore,
Right.
in order to do that, you have to assimilate.
Yes.
And now that you have welfare, the state says you don't have to do anything at all. We're just gonna live your life for you. We're going to tell you
Yep.
what to do, how to do it. We're going to give you money. We're going to give you ins to every other thing, and we're going to limit other people's,
Yep.
particularly white people, white guys, right?
White natives.
Yeah. So that's the problem. That's why people aren't assimilating because we've taken away the incentive to do so.
There's
And,
the
and
other thing. There's another part to that where you have I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's great. I think he's a very good orator. I don't know if I fully trust him, but he's a
he's a
politician, so that goes
politician.
with the
Yeah.
territory. But I think he's fine on most issues. There was one thing around Christmas time, if you remember, where him and Elon decided for some reason on Christmas Day they were going to start a war and call Americans a bunch of shitheads and that Indians are better. Basically, I'm paraphrasing it.
Well,
And then one
okay.
of the things he had said is that it's ridiculous that certain ages of children can't pass the same civil service test that immigrants are supposed to pass to get their papers. And while I understand the sentiment, Vivek, you don't get to say that. Now, you're not wrong. Those kids should be able to pass that test,
Mhm.
but you don't get to say that, sir. You're a guest. I don't care if you were born here. I do not give a shit. You're a Hindu and you're a guest in our Christian country.
Right.
Period. We'll
Well,
let
I
you
mean,
be Hindu. Go be Hindu. Rock out. But at the end of the day, this is a predominantly white European Christian country. That's what it
right.
is. That's who
And
founded it. That's who the most people are.
most people like Vivek because he's same culture as us. He
Yes.
is
He's
us.
Ohio boy.
He
He's
is
from
an
Ohio.
Ohio boy. And I understand him saying, what he was saying because, I'm Norwegian and we're certainly better than those Italians.
Yes. That's true. On most things, yeah.
It's true.
Except for food. No one
And,
touches them.
and
I'm
and
eating
that's
some right
true.
now.
They are the kings of food. And if I offended any Italians, good. All right.
You'll be all right.
You'll be all right. You'll suffer through. Uh, but yeah, no. A lot of that. If we see a lot of people will kind of lean back on their independent culture, even though they're not that. I just made a
No.
Norwegian joke. What the hell do I know about Norway?
They're communist. Do you know
That,
that? Did you know
well,
they
they're semi so. They're like
yeah. They're like China. They're fake
failed
communists.
socialist, yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, my point is, a lot of us in America will do that because all we have is that flag, right?
Right.
But the simple fact of the matter is, you're not that. You don't know that culture. You have no
No.
clue about it whatsoever. You
Mm-mm.
would be a fish out of water if you went over and visited, and a lot of people have done that and experienced it and understood exactly. They come to understand that, oh well, I'm an American. That's a culture, right?
That's right. And it's a
And
far superior culture. I'm tired of pretending it's not. Aside from like Japan, that's about it. America's the best place to live. It just is. Now, I'm
well,
not
for
talking about your shithole
opportunity, it
cities.
is. Yeah,
Not your shithole cities. Don't live there. Don't do that.
yeah.
You got the internet now. You don't have to do that. You can live just about anywhere. Um, but when you get out into, your what we would call red-blooded Americans, has nothing to do with race. Red-blooded Americans. Those are the best people in the world, aside from the Japanese. We're neck and neck because they're
Well,
kind. They
they are
take care of each
friendly.
other.
Yeah,
They're extremely friendly. They're not going to steal from you. You don't have to worry. You don't have to lock your car. You don't have to lock your doors. Kids can play outside because no one's a creep. Those people are the salt of the earth, right?
right.
That's how it used to be in the whole damn country.
Yeah,
But we've allowed, it's to Canada's point, we've allowed so many, as he would call brown people, these people from these dark cultures into our country now, into our place now, that it's been corrupted. Now, the people in our culture that would behave that way, we used to have ways of handling that, but because we're not allowed to do that anymore, or else we're the bad guy, that doesn't get handled, the problem just keeps getting worse. If we would just let fathers be fathers, somebody messes with a kid, they get killed. Done. That's easy. See how easy that was? You
that
don't
was
need a
easy.
justice
Yeah.
system. You don't need to take 20 years to figure out what was right or wrong. Bingo bongo. Bingo bongo,
Yes.
bucko. Real quick and dirty. And
Yeah.
guess what happens? You do that enough, eventually no one diddles kids anymore. because
Oh,
you
well,
took
that's
them out of the
true.
gene pool.
It's
They're out of the gene pool. They're gone now. And
fear
then
is a useful tool.
fear.
Yeah.
Fear is incredibly useful. It's extremely effective.
So is
It's
shame.
always been effective. Oh,
But
yes.
Mabel Sheik has continued, so I shall read it. He says, I know its culture and I don't want it.
Yep.
One of
I'm
my
with him.
good friends is Pakistani, known him since the 90s, and he's not a fan of them either, lol. Well,
Yep.
Pakistan is one of the most virulent and insidious cultures on the planet. It's not even really a country.
Yeah, they're
I
evil.
don't even know if I call it a failed state. It's just a collection of various pedophiles.
That's right. Just various levels of pedophilia all throughout the place.
Yeah,
No,
Pakistan's a really
Pakistan's an
bad
evil
place,
place.
dude. Yeah.
Evil place. Not a place anyone should want to live.
Now I
Um,
understand that India is not that many steps up above it, but at least they have a leader who is trying hard to drag the entire culture into modernity.
well, the British
And
tried and didn't work out for them too well.
no,
Maybe he can do it.
well they did though. They did bring them up quite a bit. They gained a lot of
That's true.
notches off the British.
Everybody
But
did off the British, and look at the thanks they get. We all
you're
just
right.
endlessly mock them.
That is true. Well, I mean, it's the teeth.
It's the damn teeth and
It
the
is the damn
accent's
teeth and the
ridiculous. I
bad
don't care
food.
what anybody says.
Yeah.
Oh, that food,
I
yeah.
mean,
And
it's so
they're all
weird,
so
dude.
arrogant about the food too. It's so weird. Like, no, it's terrible. Stop trying to make it not terrible. You know
Yeah.
it's terrible. That's why you all eat Indian food. Get out of here.
They would say it's pride. But here's the thing though with that that's really the real weird twist is this. The best farmers on earth are English. Without question, there is no doubt. The whole world uses English farming techniques now. The
Mhm.
English are the kings of farming. That's their
Yeah.
shtick. But yet their food sucks. What the hell is that
Yeah.
all about? Explain
Well,
that to me.
apparently the women don't know how to cook in England. That's the only one I got because the men do. Some of the most famous chefs of all time were British, so
It's
they know
true.
how to
Still
cook.
are. Still are.
Yeah.
But
So apparently it's the women. I don't know. I don't have any
it's
other
weird.
explanation for you.
They have an enemy in France, right? And of course,
Yes.
they are very French. I mean,
We
thousand
should
years
all
ago,
have
the
an enemy
Norman
in France,
invasion.
but yes.
But you would think they would be a culinary giant, but damn, dude, it's really weird.
Nope.
What's funny is occasionally on this channel, I do get, and just in my personal life, I do get to speak to foreigners, not Americans.
Yes.
And in Europe, particularly, I had Bonesart on here the other day, and he's Dutch. And
Mhm.
last week,
Dutchman.
that was fun. Him and Johan are doing a project together, a tabletop role playing gang, actually. But
Yeah, I heard most of that. It was good.
Yeah, it
Sounded
was,
good.
and I was at, and it just came up, and the French just kind of came up in conversation, and he clearly was not a fan. And I was like, why? He said, because they're French, and I was
That's right.
like, that's exactly
That's the
correct. And
that's the right answer.
you're European.
Yeah.
So,
No,
so
nobody likes the
everyone
French.
has the
French
same
don't even like
opinion.
the French. French
French.
don't even like the French. They're
That's
just
true. It's true.
French.
We do love picking on the French. But
We do.
yeah. But other than that, just to kind of get into the things, I usually do some geopolitics here in the beginning. Um,
Well, before
China,
you do that,
yeah.
Chester, hang on. Before you do that, let me tell you about my day because I was
Oh,
told you I was going to do it
oh,
when the
that's
stream
right. You
started.
did. Yeah, go ahead.
I had a day, my boy. So yesterday was fine. It was just normal Saturday, whatever. Today, my wife, she has started a new job about a month and a half ago,
Nice.
and this is a much better job than she had before. And they were giving away free tickets to Cedar Point. I think I told you about Cedar Point on
Yeah, you were going
Thursday,
to go. Yeah.
and we did go. Well, trying to get out of this city was a nightmare. I don't know why, but it just was. We almost got sideswiped. Like I had to slam on my brakes and swerve to avoid this person because they were coming over and they weren't stopping no matter what was there, apparently. So we almost get sideswiped. I dodged that like a cheetah in the car. We're on our way there. Her mom was supposed to dog watch for us because he's a big boy and he just we didn't know how long we were going to be, so she was going to dog watch for us. We get to her house, she's not there. She's at my brother-in-law's house with the grandkids there. She said he'll be fine, just leave him. I said okay. So we left him there. Her husband or whatever you want to call him was there, but he's literally dying of cancer. Um, so we eventually get on the road finally after all that. Okay, on the road, no problem. Get there, no problem. Get in. Boop boop boop. Start getting our stuff out to go into the park. I was like, I don't have the key in my pocket. Not usually a big problem because my car isn't old. In most modern cars, it won't let you lock the key in, right?
Right.
Normally, it'll unlock itself immediately. Well, it
100%.
didn't do that. It didn't do that, and I realized I didn't have the key as we started walking away. I was like, "Oh, I gotta grab the key." Door's locked. Key's locked inside of it. The fob's not dead, but it's weak, so it didn't detect it. So we are an hour and a half away from home. Lock the keys in the car. It's 100 degrees out today with no shade at all, no barely any cloud cover. It is a brutal scorcher first day of summer.
Mhm, mhm.
100 degrees, and I was like, "You know what? I don't have a solution to this problem right now. Let's just go in the park and have fun."
That's what
That's
I
what
would
we
do.
did.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We went in the park, had fun. We asked a couple people on our way in, like the workers, if they have any way of helping us out. And they said basically no, which we'll get back to that. They said basically no, and then gave us some numbers to some locksmiths to come unlock it. Okay, cool. Let's go ride some rides. We go ride our rides. Not really a big deal. It's hot. Other than that, we rode all the rides I wanted to ride. My favorite ride included was the first one. Great time on there. We had, because it was from her work, we got free food, we got free drinks, pretty much whenever we wanted, and we could ride all the rides that we wanted. So we had a really good time. Well, I was like, well, let's try these locksmiths. About 3 o'clock, I decided to call them. Neither of them answered. Sunday.
Mm.
So of course they didn't. Besides, I was thinking, man, I really don't want to pay a Sunday rate. They're going to charge me outrageous money to come unlock
Oh,
this
yeah.
car.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I don't know how it's going to work out, but it's going to work out. I refused to let it make me angry. Refused, Chester.
Mhm.
We had been, so like I said, this was through her work. Her supervisor or whatever she is was also there. We weren't together, but she was there. So she texts her and be like, hey, can we get a ride back? Because I could just I could get my spare key, which is here, get in my truck, and we could drive back an hour and a half, get the car and bring it back another hour and a half. That was my plan when we walked out of the amusement park.
Okay.
But I was like, no, hang on. Let me ask the traffic guys, because there's people out there directing traffic, blah blah blah. Let me ask them if there's any way they could help us out, or if it'll at least be okay if I come back with my truck, if they'll just let me in so I can get my car out of the way. And he's like, don't worry about it. I'll get maintenance to do it. So you mean to tell me that not only did none of the gate people, not only did the people whose job it is to know these things at guest services, including a supervisor, none of them knew that maintenance could just get my car door open, which is exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah.
He radios the maintenance guy. He says, just go wait by your car. He'll be out there in a little bit. I walk out there. My wife was in with her supervisor in her car, trying not to, die of the heat. I'm just chilling, hanging out. And they come rolling up in a big maintenance truck. He's got a little vacuum pump, shimmies it in the side of the door, pumps it up, gets enough separation. He can get a little shiv in there, hits the button, door comes open, car starts immediately. No problem. Didn't have to pay a cent. I gave him a $20 tip because he saved me probably $400.
Jesus. Cheaper to buy new glass.
And it would have probably, well, not so much in America anymore. So I gave him $20 tip. He's like, oh, you don't have to do that. I was like, no, don't worry about it. He's like, look at this. And he showed me his key fob is the exact same one. He had the exact same car, me and this guy, which I thought was interesting. And these guys were really cool. They're like, yeah, we do this all day. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, so why did nobody know that you had this ability? There was an old guy who was working at the front. He's like, I think they used to be able to get in, but I don't know if they still do that. And he asked one of the other, young ladies if she knew, and she said, just go ask the guest services. But the point of the story is, to anybody who's listening, I'm not saying my lack of panic about it had any influence on anything at all, but I'm not saying it didn't either. I think if I had spiraled and freaked out, be like, oh my God, we're trapped here. We're going to have somebody come bring us, drive all that way, blah, blah, blah. If I had let that get me down, it would have made everything worse. Instead, we got to have a pretty nice day and ended up getting out of it for nothing. Just nothing happened, really. It was no big deal. I had to stand in the sun for about 20 minutes. $20. $20 oops, which I have never done. I have never locked my keys in my car before. That was the first time it's ever happened, and it's never happened even with my wife in that car, because the fob usually won't let you. But it happened. And at first we were, like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But I was like, no, we're gonna go in there. I'm riding at least the Raptor. That's my favorite. It's right by the front. I gotta ride the Raptor. I'm here. I'm riding it. But yeah. The moral of this story is control your emotions. Bad things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes things that you have absolutely just 1 in a million chance that would have happened. And it sucks. And you're kind of in the middle of nowhere, an hour and a half from home. But the only thing you can control is how you react to it. That's the only thing you can
Yeah.
do. And
Oh,
if
no.
you react
Have
to it with
fun.
"Nah, fuck it, it'll work out," watch, it'll work out.
Oh, yeah. That
Very
is
often
very
it works
true.
out in my experience.
Oh, yeah, no,
Very
it
often.
does. I only did that once in my life, and, it was because, we were getting out of the car going to the mall, and, normally I grab the bag stuff, for the
Mm,
baby, and she grabbed the
mhm.
baby, but this time she grabbed the bag. So, it's just instinctively I'm grabbing the baby, but I set my
Yep,
keys down to get the baby out of the baby seat.
yep,
And
yep.
therefore they got locked inside. But I had AAA, so I just called them.
Well, we have our insurance has 100-mile roadside assistance. I would have been able to get somebody there. The problem is the parking lot is behind the gate. So I didn't know if they'd let him in. I didn't know if I'd have to pay to let him in. I didn't know what the procedure was. But I was willing to do whatever. Obviously, I wasn't going to stay in Sandusky um, with no car. So that was the only issue, and the reason I didn't just call them immediately
Mhm.
because I have basically the same thing. It just comes with my car insurance.
Well, it happens all the
Um,
time, so it
yeah,
makes sense. The maintenance guys know what they're doing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it
He
makes
had it
sense.
open in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Boop, 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 done. I was
Yeah.
like, "You're the man. You are them." They were really cool too. They were probably about my age. Like, yeah, we do this all day, every day. I was like, why did somebody say that? Why didn't they just tell me that? And I wouldn't have
Wow.
cared. I'd be like, all right, whatever. But it is what it is. Um,
Because the
but yeah,
hands
it
are
was a
not
great.
connected to the feet. That's why.
Pretty much. Oh,
Um,
it's a huge,
yeah, yeah,
park. They have
yeah,
hundreds and hundreds of employees.
yeah.
There's 19 active, roller coasters currently. They have a new one that's opening on the 28th that Chester, here's what let me explain this roller coaster to you. My wife says she will not ride it. I think I would ride it. So, basically, you go up a hill, as you do on a
Yeah.
roller coaster. You go up this hill, but then you go out onto what looks like a plank, like a pirate ship plank. It's not really, obviously. And then what it does is the train gets tilted and facing straight down
Hmm.
and relocks with the track down there, and then it drops you straight down and then into
Sweet.
the ride.
Well, that sounds
I was
fun.
like, "That's cool." She's
Yeah,
like, "Nope,
I love
not doing
roller
that.
coasters, man.
You gotta come here, Chester. I need somebody to ride coasters with me." She
Hmm.
can't do it. She doesn't hate them. She just gets really bad vertigo, and it sometimes
Yeah.
messes with her.
No, my
So,
wife doesn't like them either. But when the kids were around, of course, I'd take them to amusement parks, when they were little. And my
Dan's got good
daughter
ones.
loves to ride roller coasters. Matter of fact, she doesn't need me anywhere near her. She'll do it all on her own.
Nice.
But my son and my wife won't have nothing to do with it. She gets upset in a Ferris wheel. But I know it's weird, especially when I'm bouncing and jiggling around because it's funny. But My son is scared to death of them, but he's with daddy and he can't show weakness. So he'll sit
Yeah.
there grabbing on white knuckle death uh, on the roller coaster with dad as he's going around it. But hey, that's bravery, right? That's what
It is.
bravery
That's
is.
courage.
Yeah,
That's good man.
yeah,
What's weird is I used to be not scared of them, but I don't like the feeling of weightlessness, what the drop gives you. I never liked that feeling it does in my stomach. So I was always dread that first hit, right?
yeah.
Especially on the ones at Cedar Point because it has I think they have one that's 420 feet high, something like that. We didn't ride that one, but
That
because it
sounds
wasn't even
fun.
running. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I don't typically ride those super big ones for that reason, and because it usually gives me a headache. But since I've been healthier the last little bit here, I don't really get headaches or sick or any of that stuff like I
Yeah,
used to. So
a little bit of
I didn't
fitness
have
is good
hardly
for you. Yeah,
any of that anxiety today. Like I
yeah.
was I was ready. I was like, let's go. Let's
Yeah,
party. Let's ride them. It was so much fun. I need a
sounds good.
coaster buddy. I need a coaster buddy.
Yeah. Well, I love them, dude. I definitely be into that. But because
You'd love Cedar Point.
I went to
You'd love it.
Tokyo, of course, last week and
Uh-huh.
last weekend, it's one of the things I think I mentioned on the other show. It's because I've had a lot of people say they want to come visit Japan, and I'm like,
Right.
that's cool. There's some fun to be had here, but there's two things that everyone needs to understand if you want to come to Japan. One, have money.
Yes,
It's
it's expensive.
expensive.
Mhm,
Yeah. Well, it's important. Two,
mhm.
be fit. No, seriously, dude. There's stairs everywhere. You're walking everywhere. I mean, the Asian people walk and they
They're
climb
movers.
Stairs. They do a lot. You're a lot of stair climbing, and
I
if
wonder
you
if that's why
can't
I'm
do
so good
that,
at
man,
walking.
you're in trouble.
I can walk like it's pretty. Even I'm not even like in crazy good shape anymore, and I can still just walk. I can go for hours and I
Yeah,
don't get
that's good.
tired.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Tokyo is it's a major world city. Everybody knows Tokyo, right?
Yes.
But it's also one of the worst cities on earth when it comes to transportation, because they
Mhm.
do have a train system. It works really well. It's clean, safe. But you're
Yep.
going to walk a mile to get to any station or more.
Mhm.
So you're walking all over the place, dude. It's not like New York. You just go a block and there's a subway entrance. It's not like
Right.
that, right? Everything is way stretched out, and you're walking a lot. And for the Japanese, or all of Asia's like this, they don't think one way or the other about it because walking is normal. So I'm just
Mhm.
saying that if you're not fit, you're going to have problems. And when I go to the big cities here in Japan, of course, I do see tourists, foreigners, and a lot of them are plus size, right?
Mm.
And I know they're struggling like crazy. And you know, because I used to be that, 20 some years ago,
Right.
and I understand. And of course, I didn't know this because I've been to Tokyo many, many, many times. But I didn't realize it's the first time I ever went in summer, because I usually go in the winter, oddly enough.
Right.
And now I know why you don't go to Tokyo in
A
summer.
little warm?
A little
A little
bit,
warm there?
a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit, a little hot, a
A little
little,
warm.
little
It's a
sweaty,
little hot there.
a little bit. And of course, the
You know,
other big
so
problem with Tokyo is
uh,
finding good food. So,
you mentioned heat, and it made me think about this. I noticed this thing that I've been seeing on the internet. I don't know how true it is, where people are suggesting now that because of course, climate change, the uh, climates have started to shift
uh,
all throughout North America, and I'll tell you what, the weather has actually backed this up lately. They were saying that like Pennsylvania, Ohio, that region right there on the valleys there has become effectively almost like a soft rainforest. And as wet as it's been this year, and I mean today's the first day of summer, it was 100 degrees, and as hot as it's been, I kind of believe it. Like this year in April and in May, normally, yeah, okay, you get some weather, right? April, blah blah blah, blah. But it rained basically every day, and it did the same thing in May. 2 months
mhm.
straight. That doesn't usually happen. Usually we get 1 month of pretty decent rain, and then May chills out. You'll get showers here or there, but it typically chills out. But this year it was just wet and
Yeah,
muggy and just awful. Um, Today was fairly dry, like a dry heat, so it wasn't too bad, but it was still 100
right,
degrees with blaring,
sure.
blaring sun, like no sun cover at all. Uh, so it was a little rough.
Yeah.
And my poor
Well,
wife, she's very Irish, and she's very much not built for that much sun.
right. No,
So of
no.
Irish
Yeah,
descent.
me
Yeah.
too. I have to cover up. But yeah, I guarantee you, 100 years ago, it was worse, dude. I guarantee you.
Oh, probably,
Yeah.
probably.
Because a lot of people don't really pay attention to weather science, especially those people that keep screaming global warming. Those guys are
Yeah.
climate change. That's a new word. Sorry, climate
Mhm,
change, which is very indistinct, isn't it? But
mhm.
actually, we're on the precipice of falling into an ice age right now. I mean, we're really, really close.
Yeah.
The reality of it, the actual weather science. But we'll see. But to be fair, the sun this solar minimum, which is the first time we know of it throughout history, but we've never been able to scientifically and calculate it and look at the sun, and the technology we have now is quite useful, right? Um,
Right.
and we call it a solar minimum, but I don't know if we might have to change that term because the sun's being a real bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's causing a lot of problems, dude. I mean, have you seen that phenomenon of the electrical systems blinking all over the world, like
Yeah.
road lights and parking lots and just everywhere blinking? Yeah,
Everywhere
something
blinking.
very weird is going on with the electromagnetic effect from the sun, and it's just a phase. I mean, it happens every 400 years, but it's our first time really experiencing
Yes.
it, especially with such a higher level of electrical capabilities. So we'll see, but it's
No,
affecting us in weird ways. Yeah.
if this part did shift to who is calling me? Hang on, my wife's calling me.
Okay. Well, he's got to take care of that. Roger is says, so if you would have called AAA, they would have charged you the same amount. Yeah, and if you when I was in America, I leased my vehicles. I never, I might have like a sidecar for me, but some used car. But for our main vehicle, I always leased. And with leasing, you get free AAA. You don't have to pay anything.
Yeah, you do that with a lot of places. They do it.
Yeah.
They used to do. I don't know if they still do, but I'm sure they do. They did it at Ford when I sold Fords.
Yeah, well, no, in America, Japan doesn't really have that system here, unless you're like a big company, you want to lease a fleet, right? They don't really have that system. But if you're in America and you're married and you maybe have kids, you're going to have two cars, right?
Right.
Have your main safe car that never has any trouble. You should lease it.
Like,
That's the way to go, dude. No, all your repairs are free. AAA is free. Sure, you might pay a little bit extra a month, but you don't ever have to concern yourself with any cost at all other than gasoline. And then every
right.
2 years, you get a new car. It is the way
Brand
to
spanking
go.
new.
We have brand spanking. Dude, leasing is the way to go, man. And then have a little used car for you, the dude, and maybe you wrench on it on the weekends, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But that's absolutely the way to go. Here in Japan, it just doesn't work like that. You just buy your car. You just buy it. They don't have that.
Buying
But
this, buying it up.
well, they have it's a cash system here, and they just don't think like that. But the good thing about me being, if I was in America, I'd have debt because
Right.
that's how we are. But me living
Right.
here in Japan, I have zero debt. I have zero debt. Zero, right?
Zero.
Not even credit card debt. I don't even I that pay gets paid off every month. I have
Nice.
zero debt. And it's just because I live in that kind of culture, right?
Right.
If I was in America, I'd have debt. I'm sure I would, right? Because it's our
Right.
culture. So,
Of course, I come home and one of my AC units it's working, but it needs
oh,
the
you could do
coils
that
are a
too,
little
Roger.
dirty.
What's working?
The AC's working, but its coils are dirty. So I'm going to clean them while we're on stream, folks. You're going to listen to me do maintenance.
Oh, nice. Well, which he knows how to do. But whilst he
Correct.
does that, I'll go ahead and kind of run through the geopolitic thing I usually do every week, just to keep up with what interesting might be happening. Ukraine war is going to be over soon, very soon. The Ukrainian army is basically completely collapsed. There's mass surrenders everywhere. The Russians have surrounded huge groups. Now, I'm not saying the Ukrainians don't have little success here or there because they do, but I'd say it's 90, 10, 95, 5% type of
Right.
situation. The Russians are just dominating. They're taking many, many kilometers every day. There's huge swaths of Ukrainian soldiers just either defecting or surrendering because these are all shanghaied into the position anyway, right?
Yep.
So that's going to be over soon. It should have been over long ago. This is just stupid, wasteful, and it's because the little rat Zelensky has got himself caught in a corner. And
Yep.
we'll see how that works out. But I'd say that's going to be over soon. I'm really surprised that the patience that the Russians have had, because they could have easily went and just took Odessa, but that's not the deal. They're like, we want these four regions. These regions don't want to be part of Ukraine. They're all Russian. They all voted to
Yep.
separate. They all voted, right? This is what we're after. We're after this, and they've kept their resolve and not said, well, we'll take that one too, because Odessa is also very Russian, right?
Right.
Um, but they've been very patient and controlled in that regard, and I have to give them credit for that. But that's going to be over soon. China, holy shit, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
my God, man, it's so bad. The amount of social discord in China is a cacophony, dude. I mean, and you got to understand, 90+% of all information in China cannot get out because they have
Right.
a stranglehold on their internet there and social,
Yep.
electronics, right? But yet still constant stream finds its way out. There are fires every day, everywhere. And even if you just break it down to only corporate sabotage, it's still
Mhm.
in the hundreds of giant
Right.
factories gone, dude. There's stabbings in the street every day, everywhere. It's absolute collapse, dude. Absolute collapse. Everybody in the country is sick because the food supply has basically been poisoned. The water supply is out of control, disgusting. The major cities' level of pollution is unlivable, literally by scientific judgment, unlivable, right?
Mm.
They're in the purple. And for you guys living in America, you might be surprised. You're actually the cleanest country on the planet. Isn't that weird?
No,
But
it's
it's
not. America's awesome.
I wouldn't have expected that. But it's just absolutely out of control. She finally broke his silence because he's been missing in action for quite a while, right?
Yep.
And he finally spoke
Hiding.
up
Yeah.
on the Iranian thing and said, of course we support Iran emotionally, but we're not going to do anything about it, right? Of course, because they can't. Um, they did sneak a plane into Tehran, and who knows what was on that. But
Or
how
what they took out.
or what they took. It could just be getting delegates, to be fair.
Yeah.
The embassy people. It could just be that. But whatever, it doesn't matter. They have officially said they're going to stay out of it, and she is not dead, which is interesting. However, there is a major threat to his power from a guy named Zhang, and or Chang, I guess would be how you pronounce it. And he's like a military general guy, and so there's clearly a battle for power going on inside the CCP itself, and it's probably 1,000 times worse than that little bit we can see on the surface,
Yeah.
because it's absolute social collapse in China. It's really bad, really, really, really bad. And it's honestly probably one of the worst situations on earth. Outside, I would say China, Ukraine, and Iran are really, in dire straits at this particular moment, right? Now, we could
Mhm.
also add Britain onto that because they're still saying no, no, no. These foreigners, especially these Muslims who we're going to make special deals with, who we love, are much more than we do our natives. I would call
Yep.
that a social collapse as well. Anyway,
Yep.
China. Iran, if that was quick,
Yeah. For now.
yeah. No, no, they're
We'll
done.
see.
They're done, done. They're done. Um, I knew they were a paper tiger. We all did. But I figured they had a little bit more fight in them than that. You know.
Well, here's what happens when you have a hegemon as powerful as America, which you've never really had before, but we'll just, for the sake of argument, uh, everybody's kind of a paper tiger. The only ones who
Well, yeah.
aren't are not interested in any kind of conflict because one, they don't want to risk being proven that they maybe are Russia, and two, they're so unstable and so retarded, China, that no one no one believes they would even have a chance. They don't believe they'd have a chance. They'll talk all
No,
that shit,
not
but at the end of
against
the day, they
America.
know. Yeah, they know they'd lose.
Well,
It's not even
America.
close. Now, if Russia and China got their shit together for real and meant it, that'd be a different story because you ain't
Could
winning a
be,
land war in Russia. You ain't winning a land war in Russia or in Asia.
or
Um,
in Iran for that matter.
yeah, you're just not. It's
No,
not even a question. Don't even try it. You're going
no.
to lose.
Um,
Uh,
yeah. And to be fair, with the situation with America, all we did, because Israel's doing a good job, and I think it's actually good they've taken a little teeny bit of a bloody nose, right? A little bit. They
mhm,
they have taken some damage. It's not significant, but they've taken some, and I think it's a good thing actually. But
yeah,
with Iran particularly, those of you who didn't study your geography in school, basically Iran is like a crater, right? There's a mountain
yes,
ridge
base.
all on the outside. As a matter of fact, the border itself is defined by these mountain ranges. And there's a couple of deserts there too you don't want to play around with. But trying to send an army into Iran is ridiculous. It's literally like a natural fort, which is why it survived in its shape, right?
Yes.
And it's about what, two and a half, three Texases in size, right?
Mhm.
So you're not dropping soldiers in there. You ain't doing that.
No.
That's suicide.
Drones. Might drop
But
some
yeah, no
drones in
missiles
there.
and stuff, airplanes. Now, of course, immediately, like within less than a day, the Israelis had complete air superiority, complete,
Oh, yeah,
right?
the Israeli Air
Uh,
Force is second best in the world. Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, they're really, really strong. I mean, the Japanese
Mhm.
surprisingly have very strong military as well, because of
Why
America.
is that surprising?
Um,
They're Japan.
yeah, but the interesting thing with the Iran
Gabon.
situation, though, it's not just all the air superiority and all the cool things that Israel is doing to control them. Mossad, dude, it always comes back to Mossad, doesn't it?
Well, that's all Israel's really actually great at.
They're really good at
Those
it, dude.
together.
We saw it with the Hezbollah. They had the pager and cell phone thing was freaking genius, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of
No, it
damn.
was genius. It was a genius play, but it's also unbelievable how dumb these people were to get that stuff from Israel. What are you doing?
Yeah, but I'm
That's
happy
so
though.
stupid.
I'm happy because that was cool as shit. But they one up themselves in Iran, because there's
Did they? Of
Mossad agents all over Iran. But this is the
course there
best
is.
thing, and listen to what I'm about to tell you, because this is straight up true, and it shows you the level of Mossad. The Iranian government years ago created a department to deal with Mossad in their
Mhm.
country because they know they're there. And they're like, all right, we're going to create a special department that's going to go out and hunt and kill these Mossad guys. And they put a guy in charge of it. It turns out now, because of all the assassinations and it just everything is open and the hidden has become open and true now, right? It
Right.
turns out the guy they put in charge of that department to go and hunt and kill Mossad was Mossad.
Of course it was. Brilliant. Brilliant play.
Brilliant shit, dude. So the Iranians are just absolutely cooked, man. And
Well, this is what Islam does to people. There's no excuse for Iran to be the state that it's in. I was talking to actually our friend Bill the other day about this, and they were talking about the glory days of pre the Islamification of Iran, like the radical, where the Shah and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, there were parts of it that were very much what you're talking about, but most of Iran is very poor, and the reason it is because it's Islamic. That's the only reason. There's no other reason it should be. They're not a dumb people. They're not like a fucking South Africa or not South Africa, but sub-Saharan Africa. They're not a dumb people. This was at one point the center of science
oh
and
yeah,
literature and all sorts of
yeah,
things in the world. Like there's no excuse when you talk about the human capital for them to be this way. So why are they that way? Well, that means there's an outside force. That outside force is Islam.
it is.
Everywhere it goes,
It
it destroys.
it does, and it's the Islamists in particular. Because if they were just Muslims, it wouldn't be an issue, right? It's
Right.
the Islamic thinking, the jihad, everyone must submit or have their head cut from their neck, right? This
Yep.
this Quran, order of God to kill everybody. It's a wonderful God they got there, though. Wonderful God.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Didn't do
Murderous God.
nothing.
You know, you know. But
All
anyway,
clean.
Iran is toast. And it was just I knew they would lose if we just put a little pressure on them. Of course, America, luckily, we haven't had to do anything. We need to deal with that one, nuclear reactor, enrichment site because it was a bit deep. So he sent the B-2s in to deal with that. But that's about all we're gonna have to do, and that's great because we are sick and tired of getting in other people's wars, right?
We are.
And just
Now,
for us
one good
dropping a
thing I will
couple of
say,
missiles, all good. Yeah.
I obviously disagree with us bombing Iran. I've been very vocal about no more of this bullshit. It's not our problem. However, if any president's going to do it, just like with Syria, if any president was going to do it when he hit Syria, I want it to be Trump. Of my
Yeah.
options I was given, and I have been given my entire life, I would rather him over anybody in charge of these operations
Sure.
because everyone else is a moron in comparison when it comes to foreign policy. You don't have to
Yeah.
like the way his foreign policy works, but there's the key word. It works.
It does work.
That's all
He's
that matters.
shockingly good at it, actually.
He's unbelievable at
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And to be fair, but in this way, Americans need to look at it like this: we were helping out an ally. Israel asked for a
Mhm.
hand, and we dealt with basically one site is what we dealt with, and that's cool. We can help out our friends, especially it's
Yeah.
just an airplane. I mean, it's all good. Um, but Israel has done a really good job. They're well prepared for it. They've been planning for this clearly decades, I'd say.
Mhm.
And we can basically stay out of it and let them deal with it, and that's very good. It's very, very good. Yeah. So Iran is toast, so that's nice. And of course, the interesting thing about the Iranian situation is the Chinese noped out because we know they were going to. The real shock was more with Russia, because not only did Russia say, "Well, good luck, buddy," they were like, "No, we are actually going to pull our full voice support away from Iran." Like, damn, all right. But I think Putin and Trump are frustrated, both of them, because both of those guys would like to get down to brass tack trade deals and not
Yes.
have to deal with this stupid war shit,
Yes.
right?
War is
Because if
very
you listen to,
expensive.
well, dude, if you listen to Putin speak over the past 4 years or even more, the dude isn't interested in all these war shit. He's not. He wants to make trade. He's not that different than Trump in many ways, even though
No, he's
they've
not.
had incredible different life paths. But I think
He's a
both those guys are
businessman.
frustrated. What was that?
While he was in the KGB as a devout communist, I say
Sure, of
tongue in
course.
cheek, he realized at some level that communism's stupid, right? It just is. It just doesn't work.
Well, probably
And he
because
became an oligarchic capitalist, which is what Russia is. It's an oligarchic capitalist country.
yeah,
Um, and that's why he's one of the wealthiest men on the planet, but you would never know it because he doesn't make
flaunt
the
it.
lists. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, but he is. He's incredibly wealthy. So he wants what I've said from the beginning, Chester. This is one of the most consistent positions I've had. There is no excuse geopolitically or otherwise for Russia and us to be enemies. None. There's no answer other than other diplomatic situations that really aren't America's problem, but because we like to play Big Daddy, it's our problem. Other than that, it's really not our problem. Russia's no threat to us. They're literally our closest international neighbor that isn't Canada or Mexico. And in fact, no, yeah, well, they're right on top of us. So they're the closest international neighbor that we have. There is a strip of water that separates us. There's literally an island in between this water where one side's Russia, one side's America.
yeah,
This little tiny island.
yeah.
They are our closest geo what's the word I'm looking for? Geographic
Geo
neighbor
neighbor
besides
and
Canada
geopolit.
and
Well,
Mexico. Yeah,
and they should be our closest geopolitical ally as well.
they
I mean,
should.
we should be best friends with Russia. There's no reason not
Yes.
to be. Um,
No.
but anyway, that aside, Russia has not only not going to get involved, they have removed their support for Iran. Vocally have said that, and that's quite interesting. And I really think it's Putin saying, "Hey, look, I really want to end this nonsense so we can get back to making money, right?"
Mhm.
And because we know that's what he wants ultimately, and we know that's what Trump wants. That's what they
Yes.
don't want to be dealing with this bullshit. Anyway, Iran is cooked. Uh, the only country that has said they're going to put any kind of little bit of support behind them is Pakistan. But Pakistan, what is Pakistan? No one cares about Pakistan. Um, let's see here. What else we go? Europe is struggling to throw its socialism off its back, and trying to elect more, moderate to conservative leadership. But of course, the EU is interfering left and right constantly. So we'll see how that works out. But I think that's in its death throes. I think the EU, Nigel Farage and Reform have once again destroyed all the momentum they had because they're morons,
Right.
right? Unbelievable. It's just like Pierre Polyev in Canada, just absolutely
Can't help
destroyed his
themselves.
momentum.
Can't help themselves.
They can't.
I don't know what happens to these guys.
It's
They
stupid,
have an example. They have a great example in Donald Trump on how to do that. And Trump's made many mistakes, but he
especially
doesn't
first term. Yeah,
waver. Yeah, he doesn't waver. He stays his course. Now, sometimes he'll change his mind, and that's fine. That's not what I mean. I mean his character. I mean the way he carries himself. What happens with guys like Farage is as soon as and he's done this a couple times now, As soon as he gets near what he wants, he starts to panic. It's
Yeah.
very obvious.
Yeah.
And he starts doing weird shit that nobody asked him to do. And his base is like, "Why are you doing that? Stop!
Yeah.
We don't want this." But he won't stop. He gets in this. It's almost like what happened with me with the car. He spirals. He spirals out of control, and then everything falls apart. And he starts attacking his allies. He's done it multiple times
Yeah.
over in Britain. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I'm not going to diagnose the man. I'm just looking at his behavior. That's what he's doing.
Because he's a panicky, soft, pseudo-gay British man. That's why. Um,
That's exactly why,
That's
yes.
exactly what it is. But I'll give you an example. There are many, but I'll give you one example of a mistake by Farage. Tommy Robinson. Now, Tommy is a very excitable figure. He is full-throated common man fighting for having little girls not be raped by Pakistanis. You know,
What a
that's what he
crazy.
is.
Well, get him out of here. We
Yeah,
can't
crazy
have
guy.
that.
Oh no,
Get him out.
The British government want this guy dead. They lock him up every
I
time
know
they
they do.
can. They make up reasons. It's disgusting. It's
Yes.
disgusting. And Nigel Farage, maybe you're like, okay, this guy doesn't have the perfect sterling record to be involved with me at reform. Therefore, I'm going to sit here and say, no, 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 Tommy Robinson's a bad guy, and we don't want nothing to do with him. That's a
Right.
mistake. What he should have
No.
done is like, I full-throatedly support Tommy Robinson in his fight to protect British children.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's
You don't have to
that's how
go
he
into
should have said it.
anything more. Yeah.
You don't have to say you support him.
No,
Say you support his mission.
that's right.
That's all he had to do,
That's all he had
and
to
he'd been
do.
fine. But
But
he
he
couldn't.
didn't.
He couldn't
Yeah,
do
he
it.
couldn't do it. Yeah.
Even though he does, even though everything we just said is the complete truth, he obviously wants that, right? But
Right.
yet he just can't.
Because he's a
This is what
political
it is.
beast.
It's optics
Yeah.
cucking as the term.
Yep.
He's so afraid of having the wrong optics
Mhm.
to the certain groups who aren't going to vote for him anyway. They all hate him. It's the same bullshit we saw with all the woke bullshit and all these shows and movies and blah blah blah. It's all about optics. They don't believe that shit. They don't care. It's all about optics. But they were under this impression that if they just played ball, they'd get what they wanted. And sometimes they did, but most of the time they didn't.
That's right.
That's exactly what's been happening to Farage. That's exactly what happened to Polyev, or however you say that French nonsense.
Polyev.
He's and I don't have anything against the guy other than he started going at America because Trump was fucking with him, which is all he's doing. I don't know why you I don't know why you guys are taking it so seriously. It's one of those things where you either you understand where we're at or you don't. And when you're a guy like Farage who does, or at least he fucking should know what time it is in the West, especially in Britain.
Yeah.
And he does this shit? Nah, bro. We're past that. We're past these games where we try and look presentable. It ain't about presentable anymore. Now it's about win. Just win. That's it.
And of course, Farage has lost the confidence of, say, a Carl Benjamin or Sargon of Akkad, who was one of his most full-throated supporters. It's kind of like Bernie Sanders has lost Cenk Uygur, right?
Yes.
It's very similar. Huh?
And his mind, yes.
Well, I don't know. Cenk is having a little bit of a coming to Jesus moment or coming to Allah moment, seeing as he's clearly a secret Muslim.
No, I was talking about Bernie. He lost his mind.
Oh no, Bernie's an idiot. Yeah. He always has been.
No, it's the culture, my friend. The culture has shifted to the right. It's going to continue for at least 30 years. I hope. Just spoiler alert. We got 30 more years of guys a lot worse than Trump. I hope the left is ready. They better have every tool they got, every trick they got. They better ramp up the censorship machines. They better get the kill squads ready. I'm not even being hyperbolic at all when I say these things. I'm not exaggerating. Your time is over. It's our time now. We gave you a shot. You had about 60 years. You had a good run. And you fucked it. You fucked all of it, all the way from the top to the bottom.
Oh, badly.
It's our time now.
They crumbled society. It's really bad. Yeah. But yeah, no. JD Vance is going to be way worse for them than Trump. Actually,
they have no idea.
It's become so clear. Did you see him trolling Blue Sky the other day?
I did. See, he gets it. Vance understands what time it is. It's not the time to take these people seriously. It's the time to continuously bully them into submission. That's what time we're in.
Yeah.
Do it. That's what
Yeah.
the people want, by the way. Every poll shows that people hate this woke bullshit. They hate all this trans stuff. They're tired of having gay stuff shoved down their throat. It's why Pride
Illegal
Month went by
immigration.
a
Yeah.
whimper. They're so tired of exactly what Canada said earlier, or our boy Maple Chic said earlier. They're tired of walking around seeing people who don't belong here. They're tired of it,
Getting
and they're
free
done. They
shit.
don't even care. They don't even care at this point how you get rid of them. Most of us.
Yeah.
I don't care. Get them out.
Yeah.
Spend $100 trillion. Get them the fuck
Yeah,
out
I
of my
don't
country.
care how much they keep saying. "Oh, it's gonna cost money." Good, spend all of it.
Good. Spend it.
Spend all
Spend
of
every
it,
cent.
please, because you look how much money you spent on creating it. It's going to be cheaper to. It's not going to cost us as much to get rid of it. But yeah,
Right.
spend all the money, get them out. Matter. I wish he
Get out.
would deputize 10 million American
Oh, it'd be
red-blooded
done in a
American
month.
boys.
Be done in a month, my
It'd
friend.
be done.
A week,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
It wouldn't
yeah.
take long. And that's the solution. That's
But
always been this. I've been advocating for it for years.
some people social rights will be affected. Well, then just enact the
And
insurrection
they
act
can
and
leave.
be done with it. Yeah.
You know what we can't do if he does that? We can't leave our jurisdiction, which is the United States of America. If they fuck
Aw,
off,
aw,
guess what? Problem solved.
solved.
If they just fuck right off.
Yeah, that's
Everybody
right.
wins.
Let's fuck right off. And I think we should definitely endeavor to make El Salvador very wealthy by sending them all the
Yep.
prisoners, all of them.
We should in fact offer El Salvador official protectorship.
Yeah, yeah, we should.
Just official.
Turn them into a giant prison state, and they'll be wealthy, and all the good people of El Salvador will live nice, happy little middle class lives. But yeah, no, it's so clearly done. They keep going on and on about all of these poor little people. You're tearing babies from mothers. Well, no, they're not. They're kicking all of them out with the babies.
Here's how I know how over it all this bullshit everybody is. I went to a place. Now I have no idea what Cedar Point was like during the height of woke, if especially during June. I
Yeah.
have no idea if it was all about the gay pride or not. But the fact that I can walk in there and this is a very big organization. They have franchise restaurants and stuff, big ones all
Oh,
over
cool.
it, right? All down
Sounds
the
fun.
strip. Um, and not a single one had anything about anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
No political messaging at all.
Not
The
in
fact that that's
June?
the case, not in nothing. I didn't see a single.
Wow.
Well, I saw one pride flag. It was on the front of somebody's car as we were walking in.
Okay.
That's it. I didn't see a single one. And these are big multi-billion-dollar franchises. Some of them didn't see a single one. So
Good.
either the parks is like, no, we don't do that here, or which is both in both cases,
I'll be back in a minute.
it's done. It's over. The hysteria has faltered. It's faded. It's finished. There's no reason to keep playing along with this game that none of them care about because they don't. Most people don't actually care about it, and it's got nothing to do with oh, we hate the gay people. No, we just don't care. We simply don't care. We don't need it everywhere. We don't need to see a bunch of ugly mutated rainbows that you've put a bunch of extra colors on for some reason and then added weird arrows to. I don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, obviously. Nobody wants to see it. It's ugly. It's not pretty. It's not appealing to look at. You go to a place like that, you go there to have fun. You go there to relax. I didn't see a single, now granted it was 100 degrees. I didn't see a single freak. Everybody looked normal. Some really nice looking young ladies, really nice looking young men. Everybody looked normal. Everybody had on, appropriate attire for the most part. There was no freaks. No freaks. I didn't see any, multiple colored hair, obvious dudes in drag, like nothing. None of that.
Oh,
There was none of that to be found.
I saw a couple in Tokyo.
Well, yeah, but it's Tokyo. It's always been a little woohoo, little loopy.
It is weird. Yeah. Tokyo's not
But
like
no, I didn't see
Japan.
Chester. This place, I don't know, there's probably 10,000 people there, give or take, right? Didn't see a single one of those type of people. Not one. I saw
Yeah.
tattooed up goths. I saw all that stuff, but I didn't see a single one of the degenerate sexual freaks. Not a one.
Yeah.
And I might very well might have, but they didn't look like it, is my point. The aesthetic of it, which is all Pride Month is. It's an aesthetic so corporation can sell you shit, you stupid liberals. That's all it is. That's all it was ever about. You can pretend it's something else, some grand spiritual thing. Nobody cares. The corporations definitely don't care. They're going to take your money because you're stupid. And they did for many years. And they still do to some of you.
Yeah.
But there was none of that there. There was nothing at all. Like I said, when you left, there was, you know what it was, Chester? It was beautiful people. Well, there was a couple, still America. Couple, not so much, but there was a lot of really pretty women. And very hot. So obviously they're very, very limited clothing.
Yeah.
Same with the guys, young
God bless
men,
America.
big jacked men. Oh yeah, big jacked men. I'm out there in my Hawaiian shirt, looking good because I'm old now. I'm not walking around without my shirt on. Uh, and it was just a great time. And the reason it was a great time is because it was just normal people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there was no freaks. The freaks were not on parade today. And my point in all of this is that the freaks are losing. They've lost all ground. Nobody wants to see them. Nobody wants to hear them. Nobody wants to think about them. We don't even want to see their symbols anymore. We just want everything to be normal again. Can we have normal?
Yeah. Well, they
We don't have
went
to go
past.
crazy.
Yeah, well,
Normal.
they went
Just
beyond the
normal.
pale, right?
Yeah,
Because they came out and they won some victories, and they should have said, "Hey, let's consolidate here and be happy with these victories." But they couldn't be satisfied
nope.
because their whole lives are about the activism. Therefore, there always needs to be a new activism. Greta Thunberg is a very good example. She
Yes.
came out, this super little kid, just being fed nonsense from her crazy ass parents. How dare you about climate change or global
I
warming at
dare
the
you.
time. But now, all of a sudden, now she's doesn't care about that. She's all about pro-Palestine, and I'm sure now she's all about pro-Iran. They just need, they desperately need some manner of activism. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the activism is. It's their culture. It's their life.
It's
They
their
can't
identity.
exist without with it. It's their identity. They can't exist without it, and they just get themselves deeper and deeper. When we see these, like say in L.A., the riots, what do we see? We see people running around with the Iraqi headscarf, because keep in mind the Palestinians stole that. That's not theirs. All right,
That's right.
and that's not even their flag, by the way. They stole that too, because they're not a country. All right.
Nope.
But anyway, you see idiots running around with those flags, the headscarves. You see other idiots waving Mexican flags, even though you're supposed to be fighting for staying in America. It doesn't make sense. You see all manner of other flags. You see all manner of posters, protect the gays, protect this. I mean, just it's all over the place, dude.
Yeah.
There is no consistency. What are you marching for? Well, you'll have to speak to the one person in line, and then you'll find that the person next to them has a different opinion, because all they're doing is being activists. And they say, I can't understand these liberal media that they haven't learned anything in so long that they keep saying peaceful protest. And here's the thing: if you have a protest, and at the end of it, you have a small group of people who are violent, you know what that means? Your protest was not peaceful.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if you were peaceful for 80% of it, and then 20% was violent. That 20% ruins it. It's all violent now, because that is how language works, you
Right.
dumbass.
That's right. That's right. That's how aesthetics work.
It is. And
Um,
to be fair, there's a difference between a violent protest and a riot. They are different.
that's right. Yes. Yes. January 6th, for instance, was a riot. A very mild one,
But it
by
was a
all
riot.
accounts,
Yeah, sure.
but it was a riot. Uh, the Even though the vast majority of the people there did no violence, wanted no violence, tried to stop the
There were a
violence.
few
In
bad
fact, if you watch
actors.
the videos,
That's right.
there was enough people who caused enough mayhem
Mhm.
that yes, it was a riot. Um, for instance, I'm just giving an example. The Summer of Love in 2020, that was many, 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 many riots. Those weren't even protests, most of those. The first wave, first, I don't know, week or so was pretty much just protests. Most of them violent or many of them violent. But then it was just riots. Just call it what it was. They were just looting and do whatever they wanted. Uh, yeah, it's that kind of stuff. The hypocrisy of it,
Right.
the obvious
Well,
lying, and what to your point, you said they don't realize this stuff just doesn't really work anymore. It doesn't work on normal people as much. It doesn't work on us, obviously.
no.
Never really did. Uh, but on the TV brains, it works. And that's why when you look at a lot of these protests, it's a bunch of older people,
Yeah, but
right? You see a whole lot of older people out there. It's because those are the
sure.
people who still watch the cable news. That's
Yeah,
why.
that's
They
true,
work
and
on
they can't discern. But I mean, if we take, for instance, what you said, Summer of Love, George Floyd riots,
Yep.
January 6th, ICE riots, just BLM riots, just the kind of modern stuff. We can go back further, of course. Out of
Right.
all those modern riots in the past decade, which one has had the least amount of death from the
Oh,
rioters?
gotta be January
Is
6th.
well,
I mean,
because
they
there
didn't
was
kill
zero.
anybody.
The number is zero,
Yeah, that's
right?
right. Well,
Now,
no, there was one death, but it was one of
yeah,
the
but it
rioters
it
got
was
shot.
one of the rioters, Ashley Babbitt. But
Yeah.
there was no death, even though they keep saying and lying about it. There was no death at all. But all these
That's
other things, including this current ICE thing, there are dead people. There are dead people,
that's right.
right? Every one of them. So I don't want to hear it, CNN, although CNN is turning a corner of a corner of a corner of a page
Very reluctantly, but yes.
very reluctantly. MSNBC is like, nope, we're full on, you know. Ooh, my coffee's ready.
Excellent. No, going back to what you said earlier, you had said that he should deputize 10 million American men, 10 million American young men, let them go out there and just start handling this business. There's precedent for that, and it's actually been called for by very serious people. Uh, Something very similar to that. Now, the solution to this problem has always been and forever will be the number one most effective and most efficient way to solve this problem right now is letters of marque, which is basically the same thing. Basically, and you don't do it on the individual immigrants themselves. Now, you can, but you don't have to. You do it on the people who are facilitating their ability to stay here, whether it is employers, whether it is people who are allowing them to rent housing, whether it is people who are in some way facilitating them in other means. These sorts of, like you say, they're staying with somebody. These sorts of things you absolutely should do. And he could easily put out letters of marque for anybody aiding and
Yeah,
abetting an illegal immigrant
yeah.
at that level. There are whole
Letters of
I know
mark.
for a fact
Mm,
there are whole these are perfectly constitutional, by the way. Uh, I know for an absolute fact in my city alone, there's I'm sorry, apartment complexes, or not maybe not the whole thing, but most of it that are full of illegals.
yeah,
I know they are. I don't. It's not even a question to me. I know where they are. I could probably take you to them. That shouldn't be allowed. And the
yeah.
person who's facilitating that, whoever the owner is, whoever the people in charge of this who have made this decision, should be arrested and have all of their assets seized. All of them. You're
Sure.
done. You're a crime.
Well,
You're basically no different, in my opinion, than a human trafficker. You're
it
done.
right. If they started hammering on people who are giving them free stuff, giving them free
Yeah.
apartments, giving them jobs, all these
Yes.
people that have illegal workers, you start hammering on these companies, things will change pretty quick. If you
Telling you,
force
letters of
these
marque.
that
That's
well,
the move.
that's possible. If you take the sanctuary cities and start suing them for wasting and
Yep.
misappropriation
Put them on
of
those mayors.
taxpayer money, yeah, get them.
Yep.
Get them.
Get them.
Yeah,
Get them
get them. Get
out.
them. Get them.
It's not gonna get any better. Like, this is what killed Rome, by the way. When we talk about the, quote, "fall of Rome," this is what it was. It was very other I mean, there was a lot of socialism going on. They didn't call it that, but that's what it was. There was a
It
lot of
was.
that.
Yeah.
But it created this same exact problem. They kept bringing in foreigners to do cheap labor, and which were slaves, but most of them. But regardless, that's what these people are. All these people talk about. They gotta pick our crops, man. Just call them the N word and get it over with.
I
Like, that's what
know,
you're
isn't
doing.
it? They're so oblivious to their idiocy, right? You keep
Yeah.
saying we need them to do the cheap jobs, even though we find when like for instance, as an example, with these construction companies that had all these illegals, all the
Yes.
illegals run off or get arrested, and what happens immediately? Americans fill a position. So
Immediately
your
walk
that
on the
argument
job.
is
Hey, I'll work that.
completely specious, huh?
Yeah, it's bullshit. I know it's bullshit. I've said this for decades. I got it from my father, who probably got it from his father, because we worked in a small, we had small businesses and worked directly on the ground with farmers on a very regular basis. We fixed a lot of their equipment that they couldn't get fixed other places, like small stuff. I've never met a poor farmer. I've met some who didn't have a lot of cash, but they all have assets.
Sure,
Lots of
because
them.
they're constantly having to complete, keep up the assets is what it is. That's the
Yes.
problem of being a farmer. Yeah.
There in America, there are very unless you're doing like a very small like operation, which doesn't really even exist anymore, poor farmers don't exist. They can get capital. They can pay people more money. This idea that Americans don't want that because they won't pay more for groceries. Um, People were still buying eggs when they were $10 a carton. I watched them do it. Every time I'd go to buy eggs, they were gone.
Yeah.
So someone was buying those eggs.
Well,
So tell me something. What
he's
happened?
got he's got that under control. Inflation's way down.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to get into an economic conversation, but the Fed is being political, and someone needs to deal with that guy.
Well, he should just fire him. He can fire the chairman.
Mm,
Trump can.
yeah, he was
Yeah.
kind of threatening to do it himself. But it's that is pure politics, and that is not cool. Because the problem with what they're doing with that is you're being political because you got to get Trump, right, Mr. Powell? But
Yeah.
what you're doing is fucking over the American people. Even the
That's right.
ones that might be on your side, you're fucking them over too. And that is unacceptable. That is not your job. Anyway, don't get
That
me
is
on that. What are you
the
doing?
real quick, that is the lever of power. All
It
other
is, of course
levers
it
are
is.
turned by that lever.
Of
And
course it
Jerome,
is.
Mr. Powell, of course, knows this. So does Trump, and so does his financial advisors. Um, Everybody should know this, by the way. But that is the lever of power.
Yeah.
All other levers turn when that one turns or does not turn. And what he's up to, what they've been up to for a while, in my opinion, is treason. If I was gonna because everything we're talking about is facilitated by his insistence
Oh,
on
dude,
not playing ball.
there's a lot of
Everything.
treason going on right now. A lot.
Oh,
A
it's everywhere.
lot.
It's almost like it's a pandemic.
Almost. And like that Karen Bass lady, she definitely needs to be arrested. Gavin Newscum, as Trump likes to call him, he's a little more clever. He's a little more clever. He words
He
it
is.
in a way that protects himself. But that stupid Karen Bass, she's said stuff straight out that's treasonous. It's pure sedition, dude. Anyway, you're not baiting me. I'm moving on.
Here we go. Final Destination. Did you watch this?
Now,
Is that what you're telling me? Is that
That's
what I'm
what I'm
seeing?
that's what I'm doing. I'm going to talk about a few movies that I watched and have a conversation about them. Have you
Let's do
seen
it.
this?
I have not. I haven't seen a Final Destination movie since the second one.
This is easily the best one they've ever made.
I've heard it's
Yeah.
really good.
It's really, really, really good. I was shocked how good it was. Now, if you like the Final Destination formula, which is a fun little horror movie formula, right?
Yep.
Death has a plan and you screwed with it, so he's going to get revenge. Is the concept of Final Destination. But this movie is so well done. Now, the 6.9 rating for a simple little horror movie, although it has a complex concept, maybe it's a tad high, a tad, but it's absolutely excellent. It's worth every second of it. You'll love it. The production value, the cinematography, the acting. I mean, it's just a really good little horror movie. And I was very impressed by it. I've seen all of them, and they get a little long in the tooth. They do. But this one is going back to form, baby. And it actually kind of wraps it all up, to be fair. Will they make another one? I'm sure, because this has been successful. But it doesn't need to. It's like this was the final one and showed why everything else happened. The entire series is because of what happens in this movie. Spoilers. But yeah, if you like those things, or if you just enjoy a popcorn horror movie, dude, go watch this movie. It's great. The only complaint have with it is this. Here's your mom, Polish lady. Okay. Here's your
Uh-huh.
dad, Chinese guy. For some reason, that makes a supposed to be 19-year-old Latino girl who is, and they even have Latino names. I guess this Asian guy is somehow Latino, but very Chinese guy. But she's supposed to be like 19 and she's 36, 38, easy. This kid could be a mix. He's okay. But that's it. That's the only complaint I have. Done.
Yeah, that's weird. They do that a lot. It's
They do
very
that a
strange.
lot, and especially with the girl, she was fine. She did a good job, but dude, trying to convince me that's a 19, 20-year-old girl. What are you talking about? That's an old woman. Um, uh, but horror movies do that a lot, right? So it's not a worthy complaint at all. It's good fun. It follows the formula perfectly because Final Destination has a formula.
Right.
And some of the kills in it are spectacular. It's just a good fun time, man. I was surprised. I thought this series was definitely done and dusted, dude. Definitely. But nope. Yeah.
So
Uh,
if it's was it that Caitlyn girl? That the one you're talking about? That's definitely not 19, but they were saying she is.
this old girl, Caitlin Santa Juana. Yeah, that one.
She was born in 1997, so she is very much
No,
not 19. Yep,
no, but
April 19th,
dude,
1997.
she looks near 40 in the movie. She
Yeah,
looks real
no,
old.
something happened, Chester. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah,
something happened. The generation coming up after us is old looking. They look old.
yeah,
They just do. I
yeah.
don't know why.
But like I
Like
said,
millennials just aren't aging like they did. Like they are. It's weird.
now the other kids, the other younger people in it, like Tio here, Anna Lore, and Owen Patrick Joyner or Joyner, I guess, they look young. They looked
Mhm.
young. They looked like kids, and it worked really well. Even the older brother Eric here, Richard Harmon, he looked young. She's the only one that looked old, but she was fine. I'm just saying it's not much of a complaint. But that's the
Yeah.
only one I could come up with. And of course, this is, I believe, the last film of Tony Todd. And he's super skinny in it, dude. Death is coming for him. But he still gave you Tony Todd, though, but baby. I mean, it was
So
beautiful little scene with him. Yeah,
old Tio,
yeah,
which is a silly name, Tio. Um, he's 20 years old.
yeah.
So
That
he
makes
actually
sense.
is the age roughly. She's far beyond 19. She's way bye to that
Yeah.
many years ago.
But the Tio guy, he looks like he could be 15 or 16. It works.
Right.
But like I said, it's not a complaint. It's not. I'm nitpicking. Because she does a great job. She's fine in the lead, dude. And
Mhm.
like I said, it's just a good movie. It was great fun. Tony Todd had his last performance, and it's a good one. Of course, he's Candyman for those of you who don't know.
Yep.
He does look super skinny in it, but I don't, he just kills it. Of course, it's just fun, dude. It's a good fun movie, and I recommend it wholeheartedly. Like I said, 6.9 for a simple little horror movie. It's a bit much. It does have some complexity, so I guess you can. It's fine, but it's great. Now, the same cannot be said for the next movie. However,
Uh-oh.
Sinners. Ha-
Uh-oh.
have you seen it?
You didn't like it? I have not. I heard it's really good.
Uh, That rating, 7.8, is that's 2 points of because black people, just so you know. This is a 5.5, maybe, right?
Okay.
But and I'm not going to give any spoilers to it. Although I will tell you the reason it's not going to get higher than a 5 or so out of me is because it is so simple. It's a little vampire movie, right?
Mhm.
They don't even give you any cosmology or anything to the vampire at all. It's literally you have no clue where he literally drops out of the sky. There's no rhyme or reason where he's come from or nothing. So there's no complexity to the story to add the points to the overall movie. Because horror movies are gonna, if you got a good horror movie, it's sitting around 5, right? 5 to 6.
Right.
Because they tend not to have much complexity. To have a rated 9 or 10 movie, you need something that has some complexity to it, or just one of the greatest acting presentations in history to get something that high. So I'm not, by me saying it's 5.5, it's not. I'm not dissing it. I'm saying, yeah, it's a good little popcorn horror movie. The problem with the movie is not that. Okay, the problem with the movie is this. This movie is desperately ethnic.
I don't know
Okay,
what that means.
you should know what it means. And the thing is, of course, all the bad guys in it are whites, and all the other races are good peoples, even though they're not really. But here's the problem that you run into that. I don't know why when you have a black movie, and now I'm not talking about something like, say, Blade or a Denzel Washington or a Morgan Freeman movie. I'm talking about a
Mhm.
movie made by blacks for blacks, right?
All about
Uh,
white people.
why is it always about white people? Why can't you just do
They're,
your movie about you? Why do you always
they
have
don't
to
have an
drag the white
identity.
man in?
Here's their identity: ghetto is shit and white man bad.
Yeah,
That's
but it,
this great culture they're always going on about. That's their culture. That's it. They hate white people. Now, obviously, not all of them do, but these are the ones that they ostracize. They hate white people, and they hate anything that it resembles or sounds or sniffs or whatever that's white people, except for English, apparently, um,
yeah.
and movies. The things that white people invented. Um, they don't like white people. Don't like them one bit. And something ghetto, and then randomly they have this weird fascination with like 1930s black culture or 1940s era comes
Right.
up a lot.
Which is,
Uh,
there's nothing wrong with that. Uh, but
no, that's
but yeah,
fine. But
it's
it just
stupid.
it's just out of nowhere. Is my
Yeah.
point. Like it doesn't fit with the rest of
And
this
he,
equation.
and here's the thing. The constant quips against the white man in this movie has no need to be there because it's not about white people at all. It's about black people
Yeah,
and their culture. Why did white people even come into it? It's no
right.
need at all, but they can't do it. Name me one black made movie for black people that doesn't have to involve the white man. It's so weird. But whatever. That's the are you surprised? You shouldn't be. But let's get into the other deeper problem that this movie has. And part of it is because they're wasting thought on the white man. If they'd stopped thinking about the white man, you could have gave more power to your story, because this movie has a little bit of Santorina in it, voodoo, hoodoo, right? But
Yep.
not enough that you're going to make a theme around it. You could have, but they didn't, and that's fine. It's just a little color in the back, so we'll leave that be. All right. But here's
Right.
the main theme: spoilers of this movie, the muse. Now,
Mm.
if you understand what that means, there are many words for it in different languages and cultures. But the muse is the idea of this inspiration of, music and art that comes from the heavens and is inspired through people. And of course, in this story, the muse can heal and bring communities together, but it also attracts evil for some reason. All right. So
Yep.
that's their concept. All right, okay, fine, right? That's interesting. The muse, in this case, a great blues guitar player, draws evil to them. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Let's do that story. But they're so
Right.
busy having to have all these bad white man stuff and all these other extracurricular things that have nothing to do with your core theme of the muse, and the muse has attracted evil. That's your concept, right?
Which is a cool concept actually. It's like
Sure, it
a
could be. It could be.
yeah, like a
But
dark Pied Piper
they don't
situation.
flesh it out. There's one scene that does a little bit for it, but they don't flesh it out because they're too worried about get whitey.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you're fucking yourself over just by not getting white man out of your head. Why do you let the white man live free in your head like that, dude? Come on now. Because it could have
I
been really
can answer
cool.
that question. It's because their culture's been feminized, and that's the feminine trait. That obsession.
Yeah,
That's not a man that over something like that. Men will obsess over things all day long, over our
yeah,
things we're tinkering with, what have you, our knowledge. We don't typically obsess over somebody who wronged us. I don't think. Now, occasionally you will get a man who has that level of petty and spite, but it's
of
fairly
course.
rare among men. Usually, we just we either
Because
go
we
sort it
want
out
peace
or we
and
let it
quiet.
go.
Yeah.
Right. But women, they'll bring up shit from 35 years ago
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
nobody's
yeah,
ever
yeah.
heard of,
Yeah.
but they
Now,
remember it and they're gonna bring it up,
that of
and that's
course
all it
that
is.
is true. But I mean that's the main problem with this movie. It got in its own way, and that's a shame because it could have been way better if they hadn't done that. Now, positives I'll say about it. What's this boy that does the Creed here? He's in the picture here. What's his name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, that guy. His acting is solid, and he plays two
He's amazing.
characters. He plays twins. He's very solid, and the characters are different enough.
Right.
So it's fine. I'll also give them credit that most of the women, because this is all black. There's a yellow lady in there, and because that's why I use ethnic, because they appreciate all culture other than white men,
Yeah.
right? But even then, with the white man, the evil vampire, of course, he's a white guy, right?
Of course
And
it is.
he's even worse. He's an Irishman.
Oh no,
Oh
not an.
no.
Oh
Um,
no, not a potato.
but they do some of their Irish culture stuff too, so at least it's there. But one thing I'll give them credit for is the black people they chose for this in general were real black people. A lot of these movies will use mulattoes, especially the
Yeah.
high yellow mulattoes, very light skinned mulattoes. This movie
Yeah.
didn't do that, especially with the women. Dude, there is some dark skinned women in this movie, real dark. And,
Mhm.
I'll give them credit for that. I'll give them credit for that. They ran into a problem because there's so many very dark skinned people here. And it's a horror movie, so they want to keep the lighting low. It's kind of
Right.
hard to see them.
Yeah.
I mean,
With a
it is
smile.
what it is. It just is what it is. I'm
Um,
not being that's not a racist comment. It's just a factual one. So what they did
no,
was they
it's just a funny racial comment because it's
it
real. It's happening.
because it is real. So what they as you can see here with the lady in the back, she's super dark. They sweated them up. They glistened them so that they would
Mm,
stand out in the light a little bit better. But that's just the problem with a horror movie. You tend to want it to be dark because you want a brooding feeling, right? So
right.
they had a little bit of problem with that, but they were able to fix it, I think, overall. Although there are some scenes that are just dark, man, because and the people are too dark. It's hard to even make out their silhouettes well. But I'll give them credit. They did put real black people in the movie, and I think that's good because a lot of those dark skinned ladies, particularly, don't get a lot of love, man. Right?
That's true. That's true.
So
It's
I
one of
thought
the
that
things I'm worried about with, our girl Storm, is they're gonna make her too light. We're not gonna get our
they might,
African goddess that she
yeah.
should be.
But so I thought that was nice. I like that. The music is fun and good because it is, but the whole movie's idea is about the muse. So there's
Mm.
really good blues music in it. Of course, they have that old stupid idea that the blues is from Africa, and it's like, excuse me.
Wait a
Um,
what? What? Where do they come up with that?
I don't
How does
know.
that make any
Go
sense?
find
That's
me the
one of the
blues in Africa,
only
please.
that is one of the main, like, cultural
American
truly
things. It's very
great
American.
cultural American things that
Yeah.
they specifically added,
They
and
did,
yet
and but it's
yet
but it's an amalgam of things. It's coming out of the Irish, and it's coming out
of
of
course it is.
native stuff. It's coming out of them. It's an amalgam of things that were put together.
Yeah.
And of course, there's one little scene in this where a little quip against the white man. Of course, oh, the white man liked the blues just fine. He just don't like who plays it.
Yeah, because some of the most famous, musicians of all time, blues musicians, who were also very black, were just hated by white people. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
white man everywhere
And
never bought one of their albums. Never happened.
of course, we won't mention that the vast majority of blues, soul, funk musicians throughout history are actually white people. Let's
Yeah,
ignore that completely, shall we?
yeah, right, we
Especially
won't talk
funk.
about it.
They love to say how black funk is, dude. The vast majority of funk bands were white people, dude. The vast majority,
Well,
right?
that's just proof that they were holding black people down,
They
that's all that
were,
is.
they were. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's just a dumb comment. It's a very American thing. It's stupid.
it is.
But the
It is.
movie's full of these stupid little racisms. And it's a shame if they had just let the white, because the white men, then you needed zero white men in this movie. There's no need
Right,
for all that. That extra hating white stuff is extracurricular. That has nothing to do with it. They had to stretch to get it in. It's not part
right.
of your story. And they made the main vampire an Irishman, who is he wants to because this is a hive mind vampire, right?
Okay.
It's that type of vampire. So he gets the memories and thoughts and ideas. So he hunts muses because he loves music. Okay,
Interesting.
cool. It's a vampire hunting the muse. I have no problem with that. And you what? But of course, you have to make him white man. Why couldn't it have been a black guy? Why couldn't
Yeah,
you just
or a
made
black
him
girl.
a black vampire that hunts muses? Cool, right? but they can't. They can't get away from their racism. And
Yep.
it's a shame because this movie, it's not a 7.8, but it could have been a 6.5, 7, if they didn't have to just ruin their own storytelling by their obsession. And it's a real
Can't help
shame.
themselves. Cannot help themselves.
No.
They did the same thing on to a different degree with the Creed movies. First two Creed movies, I really like. I think the first one's pretty good. I think the second one's phenomenal, actually. Well, that might be a little hyperbolic, but it's really good. And the third one I've never seen. It could be a fine film, but they purposefully, I don't know if it was Michael B. Jordan himself or if it was the executive producers, screwed Sylvester Stallone out of the film purposefully, intentionally. And because he wanted a producer credit and they wouldn't let him have it, which is so ridiculous because they give them to everybody. So why wouldn't they give it to him? The only reason that the Creed movies exist is him. He wrote
Yeah,
Rocky. He
because
created
racism,
Rocky.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. Well, no,
So
no,
they pushed they boxed him out basically. And
this
he wasn't happy about it. He was vocal about it.
don't misunderstand it. This Michael B. Jordan kid is a racist. 100%.
Oh, of
I've
course he
seen him
is.
speak many times. I've seen his opinion many times. This movie, of course, is just another of his opinion. He's a racist. Ryan Coogler, racist. Just
Yeah.
like that other guy that did that put out a couple of okay. I haven't watched them, but I hear they're okay. And then he did horrible Twilight Zone. What was that guy's name?
Uh Peele? Is that his last name? What's his name? I can't remember his name.
But you know
But no,
what I
I know
mean.
Jordan Peele. Jordan
Yeah.
Peele. Uh
Another guy make black movies for black people, and every single one of them is about white men. Every damn one of them. It's like, what's wrong with you? If you want to
yeah.
make black movies by black people for black people, do that. Go right ahead, dude. But why do you have to involve the white man? You're hurting yourself by doing that. If this movie cut all the dumb white shit out of it, it would have been way better.
Right.
Because they had to
Yeah.
reach to pull in the white man. Because I
Well,
guarantee you what happened is this: the original script, I bet you the vampire was a black guy. I bet you he was. And it
mm,
was a cool little idea. And Ryan Coogler got a hold of it, and he's like, "No, no, no, we got to make sure we put some hate white man in here." And they went and ruined it.
like an Irishman?
An Irishman
Like
of
of
all
all the
people,
white men,
the
yeah, that's what
right,
I'm saying. Of
the people
all
who,
people
the people who got along with the blacks best, right? The Irish,
who got just as if not worse,
more
I wouldn't
screwed.
say if
Yeah,
not absolutely worse,
yeah,
screwed and oppressed than anybody else in this equation.
yeah.
Um, and yet you pick him. Like I could get it if you pick, you picked a Brit. I get it. Brits are easy to
An
pick on.
Englishman,
You were
yeah,
picking on
sure.
them earlier. Englishman,
Or a
maybe even a
Frenchman,
German or a
yeah, German,
Frenchman.
yeah.
These bad, they're bad. They're bad people, all of them, right? I get it. I get it. History is what it is. But an Irishman, what the Irish ever do besides invent whiskey? That's about
And
it. And any
dance
and they do a little
and
dancing, they
storytelling
sing.
and all the
Yeah,
other
they're
good things from the
basically
Irish.
black people, right? They're very similar in as far as like their cultural makeup. Very similar
Right.
what
And
the stuff is.
and keep in mind a large number of the mulatto in America are coming from Irish black mixes.
That's right. That's
That's
correct.
what they're coming from. It's a huge percentage of Irish because the
And
Irish
Italian randomly.
and Italians,
Yeah.
and there's some others too, but the Irish are heavily overrepresented in that regard. And the reason is what he's trying to explain is during the same, we had 252,000 slaves brought into America, black slaves.
That's right.
Now, of course, they always talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, which happened more than 2 years into the war. But keep in mind, when our Constitution was written in the 1880s, we put in there that, because we were trying to make a deal with these stupid Southern Democrats, that,
Yep.
okay, well, we'll let you keep the slaves you have, but you can't bring any more into the country. No more buying slaves from outside. You can't do it. Right. We put that in the Constitution, by the way. Yeah. So that 252,000, that was the end of it. Actual slaves bought into America from outside was 252,000. Would you like to know how many Irish people were indentured because they were, poor and
Yeah.
thrown in as
Pretty
slaves
much.
in America? You know what the number is?
I don't.
248,000. So a disparity of
The white man won
4,000
again.
people,
The
right?
white man won again.
Yeah. Now, of course, the big difference is those black slaves were valuable. Therefore, they weren't. You don't want to break or kill that slave because they're expensive. The
Right.
indentured servant, the white Irish people, were basically free. And that's why so many of the black slaves survived to have children upon children generationally until today. And most of those indentured Irish died because they worked
Yep.
them to death, right?
Yep.
The reason you have so many Irish in America now is comes from after that, not that shit that went on way back when. What happened was you had the English trying to poison and murder all the Irish out of Ireland by literally
Yep.
poisoning their water supply, and the potato famine that came that was the inception of the idea for the British. Hey, we can get them. They're having a famine. Let's poison the water, and they just fled mass
Right.
immigration into America. Now, keep in mind, most of the people in today they keep telling you they're Irish, they're not. They're English, right?
Right.
Because the English invaded and took that land after they escaped. Ireland moved to America. That's where all those Irish people come from in America that survive today generationally. They're coming from the vast majority are coming from that potato famine movement, not from the indentured servitude of the English way back when, because most all of them died. So don't give me this bullshit. And of course, they never bring into effect all the yellows and the reds and the browns that were enslaved as well. And of course, not
They don't
they
count.
don't even bother to mention that a lot of slave owners, particularly toward the end of it, were black men.
And according to their slaves that had gotten freed, after the Civil War, especially, the black slave owners were far more brutal than the white ones. Far more brutal.
Well, I mean,
There's many accounts of their brutality and cruelty to their own people, as they
right.
say in these
Well,
accounts.
actually, some of the really ugly parts of slavery happened after we created our Constitution
Yeah,
because they couldn't buy them in, so they were just breeding them, right?
that's right.
And as it got to, especially when you get in the 1840s, 1850s, the breeding stock was so vibrant that they weren't as valuable because there were always more around, right?
Right.
And therefore it became more brutal than it was in the beginning. And of course, by this time there were a lot of black and yellow and brown and white people who owned slaves. It wasn't universal in one group or another. And of course, slavery is horrible. But it is what it is. But this is stuck in their little brain. They can't get away from it. They don't understand anything about nothing. And therefore, you get a movie like Sinners, which could have been a great movie, but it's just a good movie because they can't get out of their own goddamn way. So
It's a shame.
it's a
It's a
shame.
shame.
It's a shame.
It is. It is a shame.
It really is. 'Cause especially in this movie, it's so blaring in your face. The white people part is completely extraneous to the story.
Right.
Completely. It has nothing to do with what's going on. It just had to be in there because get Whitey, right?
Right.
So stupid. And this Michael B. Jordan guy, he is a good actor, but he's a fucking idiot. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, let me move on to my third movie,
Third movie. What the hell is this? Another
Bogeyman.
vampire movie.
Another vampire movie. Yeah, they are
He's into
easy
the
to make, right?
vampires.
This
Low
Bogeyville,
budget.
it's very low budget. It's very, very, very low budget. It's horribly acted. It's horrible, horrible movie. The name is stupid as shit. The idea is the person who created the little village loved Humphrey Bogart. I know it's dumb. Anyway,
Oh
it's
my.
bad, 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 bad. So why am I talking about it? That 4.0 you see in a rating there is generous, very generous. And I imagine the reason why it's got a 4.1 is exactly why I'm talking about it. This is one of those movies that, in the hands of a more competent producer and director, could have been a freaking gem,
Mhm.
right? It's one of those movies. We've all seen those movies like, oh, this is really bad, man, but it could have been amazing if, say, Guillermo del Toro made it or something like that,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
The concept on this movie is great. It's the idea of that a vampire situation fell upon a little village of no fault of their own, and one of the brothers who was unaffected basically protects them. I also love the fact that the vampires in this are monsters. They're not
Mm,
pretty little twinkly boys. These are monsters, right? And the special
excellent.
effects in there are pretty good. Matter of fact, I'd imagine this Sean Cronin is probably a special a makeup artist or a special effects guy who made a movie. We see that happen sometimes, right?
We
Um,
do.
but anyway, the brother is basically stays on to protect his family, and of course, they brought in a little bit because they try to make sure that they kill their victim, but occasionally they don't, and they have to. The family grows over time because there's one brother who's not infected, and he, of course, it's a dangerous situation for him because they are monstrous, and it's hard for them to control themselves. But he's just trying to protect his family and his little daughter, who you see here on the cover. But he's old. He's really old and he's going to die. So he needs somebody to take over for him. And thus our protagonists come in. And he basically tries to create a situation where they will agree to help and to carry on into the future and protect his family. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. It could have been an amazing movie, but it's just no skill director. The acting is abysmal. My God, dude. My God, you and I could do a better job.
Oh, I definitely could.
Yeah, yeah. No, no,
I'm
100%.
actually I'm unironically a phenomenal actor. In a
Yeah,
different life, I'm probably in movies.
fair enough. But there's so many moments you laugh in this movie because the production is so low and you're like, oh my God. It's a bad movie. I'm not suggesting you watch it because it's bad, guys. But the concept, man, this could have been a great little gem. It just didn't have the right money or the right team or even the right director. Because sometimes, like, what was that movie? The Cabin. Like, what was that guy's name? Um,
The Cabin in the Woods.
no,
That
no,
come
no.
to
That
mind.
that's a great movie. I'm talking about The Cabin. Um, it's a virus movie. But anyway, Saw. Let's use that. That's everyone knows Saw. The original
It
Saw was done for pennies,
it
right?
was phenomenal.
And it was
Really.
phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
And this movie could have been something on a little teeny budget, but but I just put it here simply because this is a perfect example of a great idea that just didn't have what it needed, you know?
Right.
Um Unbelievable.
Well, what might happen if it's a solid idea, someone will just steal it, and then
Yeah, they should.
maybe you'll get that movie
They
that
should.
needed it that
Yeah.
needs it.
It needs a
Because that
little.
happens all the time.
It does, and the ending is stupid. It needs fleshing out, but the idea is a great little concept. It's actually if Hammer Studios made this back in the '60s, it would have been great, right?
Right.
That kind of idea. Hammer Studios in Britain would have done a great job with this. Anyway, that's what I got from movies that I watched. I did watch another vampire movie. Oddly enough, I don't know why so many vampire movies are out right now, but that one. I can't remember the name of it. It's brand new though. Something about that's waiting for death or something like that. But
Mm.
it's a kind of a I don't know. I wouldn't know if it's woke. It's a female-led movie. Of course, it has lesbians, but it's not woke so much. I don't know what's, but anyway, it doesn't matter. That was also a pretty good idea. And that's something that someone should take and do something more with because that concept was the vampire that we know, the bloodthirsty, destructive, the vampire that gets burned in the sun, is
Yeah.
actually just a nascent form of the vampire. And
Mhm.
if they can hook up with one of their own, because in this case, the child was born that way, right?
Interesting.
And one of an established vampire can give its blood to them, they will become a full vampire, and therefore they can walk in the sun. They're super fast. The idea is cool. The fact that there's stages of vampirism instead of just
Yes.
vampire. That's kind of cool. And it
Yeah.
wasn't bad.
There's a couple games that are like that where you can level up and become
Yeah, yeah.
basically a
Yeah.
daywalker.
But I just thought it was that's interesting. But it wasn't worthy enough to put here. But this Bogeyville is a huge missed opportunity because that is a great concept. But nevertheless, that's what I got from movies I watched. Now let me go ahead and move into the normal stuff we do. But like I said, Final Destination, go watch it. Sinners, it's watchable, but it's going to frustrate you. Bogeyville, don't watch that shit. All right.
Don't watch it. Stay
No.
away from it. Do the smart thing and not that thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Go ahead.
That's the breadth and the width. Warner Brothers frustrated over Batman 2 delays, but Gunn defends Matt Reeves. Well, of course he does publicly, but what's he doing privately?
Now, I want you to help refresh my memory because I'm an old man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
got to help me out here.
Yeah.
Now I do believe we've been talking about this for years,
Yeah.
right? We both like Batman. It was
Yeah.
good. Matt Reeves is a wokey, but he could put that aside and make a good movie. Sweet,
Yep.
right? Now you correct me if I'm wrong, but I do recall the chronology of this was Matt Reeves turned in a script within less than a year after the movie came out.
That's right.
James Gunn was knocking on him and the idea and trying to diminish him because he wanted to do his own thing.
That's right.
They started saying that there is no script, even though that we know that there was one submitted. And
Yep.
now James Gunn is vociferously defending Matt Reeves and saying that the script will be here next week. Now, have I somehow lost my ability to remember or recollect?
Um, you have not,
Okay,
and
that's
I
good.
would
I was
say,
worried. Senility.
well, it is a hell of a drug. I would say something is afoot.
Something is
Shenanigans,
afoot.
potentially,
Shenanigans,
potentially shenanigans, Chester,
potentially,
are afoot.
I think.
Uh,
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that, and I hope that's true because we all should want more of this version of Batman. I think we just scratched the surface. The reason why I do say, and I stand by it, that's the best Batman live action Batman movie ever made. It is not the best movie with Batman in it, but it is the best Batman movie ever made. And the reason why,
It was
I
a good
mean that
movie.
not just the character, I mean everything. I
Yeah.
love Gotham. I think they did a great job with
Yep.
Gotham. It's
I
very
agree.
gritty.
Look good.
It's very look good. I like how dark it is. Some people don't like how dark it is, like the lighting, but there's a reason for that because Reeves is a very good director. Uh, the fact that, and I'll just break it down for you, a little film lesson, little cinematography lesson. The movie, the beginning of the movie is very, very, very dark, very, very, very dark. You barely, I mean, there's parts where you can barely see anything. And as the movie goes on, it gets a little lighter and a little lighter and a little lighter
Well,
until eventually
because
you're
the
at
hero is
dawn.
coming. Right.
The hero is coming. Yes, exactly. That's the exact reason it's like that. But because audiences are so impatient, so many people got annoyed that I can't see anything. Anyway, uh, Matt Reeves is one of the best directors going right now when it comes to telling you or showing you without telling you. He just is. That's one example of it throughout that movie. The audio choices, the songs that he picks, uh, over and over and over again, they reinforce this. Even the theme song to his Batman, the song that score that he approved, of course, he's the director, is perfect. It's perfect for that film. It's perfect for this version of Batman, and it does all of that in one song. So all that being said, we should want more out of this because I really do think he just scratched the surface. Then we saw the Penguin show, and holy
Holy
shit, did
shit.
we see the Penguin
Holy
show?
shit. Yeah.
So I not only want more of that,
Oh yeah.
please, thank you.
Hmm.
I want more of Colin Farrell doing whatever he likes, but
Yeah. Whatever
definitely
he
as
likes.
the
That's
Penguin.
true.
Just
Yes.
give him work to do, please. The man's amazing. He showed a side of how good he is to the world that I don't think any of well, I kind of knew it, but a lot of people didn't. They always just kind of thought he's just one of those actors who's in everything, right? He just always shows up. No, he's a phenomenal actor, genuinely phenomenal
Hmm.
actor, and he proved it with that show. So we definitely want more of that, and I want to see where it goes. They set up some really cool stuff. I think most people are like that. So we should all want to see this continue. Whatever the delay was, there's rumors that Matt Reeves is sick. Maybe he is. There's rumors that it was, and this is what I think it is. James Gunn was meddling, or
Yeah, I
he was in
definitely
some
think it's
way
that. Yeah,
sabotaging
I think so.
directly or hindering,
Yeah.
because his little gay little ego, he can't handle the fact that Matt Reeves is a better director than him. Just period. He just
Yeah.
is. I'm not even gonna argue it. He is. And he's able to do what James Gunn is not. James is good at his niche. He's very good at it. Maybe the best going. But Reeves is very, very good at sincere. The reason why I love that Batman movie so much is because it takes itself seriously. It doesn't take itself literally, right? It's obviously not trying to be, explain everything necessarily, but it takes itself seriously. One of the problems these superhero movies have, especially because of James Gunn, is they don't take themselves seriously anymore. It's all yuck yucks, tongue in cheek. It's almost like a parody for a lot of them at this point. Like it's what am I doing? What am I watching? This is. Are you making
Right.
fun of me? What are we
Right.
doing right here?
Right.
And the Batman movie isn't that. It takes itself very seriously. Not that it's overly serious, but the tone is the correct way. The Penguin Show. My God, you don't get much more sincere and severe. I think is another good word. Severity
Yeah.
than that. Um, I want that. I get James Gunn's going to go a different way with the DCU, and he probably should because DC, especially the big guys besides Batman, are typically less severe. Sincerity, no, but severity, yes. Superman is supposed to be more lighthearted.
Yeah.
Um, so that's fine. The problem that we have here is James Gunn's little ego.
It
James
is.
Gunn can't handle this fact, and it's a fact. He
Yeah.
can't make that movie.
Well,
On his best day, he can't make the
no, he can't.
sincere, dark
He can't.
Batman movie people
And
love. He can't do it.
yeah, and the thing I think what we're seeing is because he was sabotaging, we know it. We've covered it here on this show many times, right?
Yep.
I think what's happened is his Creature Commando didn't hit like he wanted it to. His Peacekeeper season 2 or 3 or whatever it is not getting the hype he wants it to, and his Superman thing is in the toilet because everyone is complaining about every little thing. So I think he's trying to play nice. And he's saying, "Oh no, I actually support Matt Reeves. Look at me here supporting him. Get off his nuts," he said. Let him do his thing at his pace. He's trying to be the good guy. I saw him come
Mhm.
out with another statement the other day, trying to explain why all these modern woke movies fail because he said, "Finish the script." It's like, dude. But
They
that's
finished
what's
it all right.
yeah.
Oh, did they
That
finish it?
that's what is happening here. James Gunn has been his golden boy shine has sheened off,
That's
and
right.
he's desperately trying to make himself look like the good magnanimous guy,
Right.
because we know he was interfering with his shit. Because like I said, less than a year after Batman came out, we know Matt Reeves submitted a script. We covered it.
That's right.
These people think we're idiots and we forget everything. I suppose a lot of people do, but not all of
They do.
us, buddy.
No, that happened.
It
That was
did
a real
happen.
story.
We covered it.
Uh, we covered it. We were excited. We're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
awesome.
party.
Here we go. Right?
Let's party. And now we are 3 years removed from the Batman movie.
Yeah.
Came out in 2022. 3 years removed, and we don't even have pre-production
No, we're
confirmed.
going to get this in 2027. They're saying, in the October
I hope.
release. But here's the thing: they put it off. This got pushed off for this. I'll tell you right now what happened. Joker 2 was coming out, and they wanted to push that because politics. James
Yep.
Gunn had his stuff coming out, and he wanted to do all that stuff before this because he didn't want to be made look bad by Matt Reeves, and all that
That's
stuff's
right.
coming out, and it's not as good as he thought it was going to be. People got to love it. They're not loving it, right?
That's right.
And now he's in a situation where he needs to go promote something because Zaslav is probably screaming at him
Yep.
is probably what's going on, I'd say, because this is a complete switch of character. He did not support Matt Reeves for a long time.
No.
He clearly was stymieing the efforts, clearly. Now, we
Yes.
have reported here that Matt Reeves is sick. He might even be dying, which is
Could be.
unfortunate. But all that I just said is true, right? And no, Maple Chic, it's not the good Joker. It's the other Joker. Who, to be fair, Joaquin Phoenix did a great job in the first one, and the second movie was just a fuck you to the fans. He's not even really the Joker. That's all that movie was. Fuck you, fans. We're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars just to say fuck you. That's what that movie was. Now, the Why So Serious Joker was a much better Joker. Joaquin Phoenix was a movie that had the title Joker in it, but it was great, right?
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. So this is dumb. Fuck you, James. We see you. I see you, James. I see you.
You can't hide from us, Mr. Gunn.
No, what a little,
Your little ego. Oh,
little
I know what word you were looking for. Your little ego. We'll call it that. We'll be nice. Your little ego can't handle it. And I called that shit out right away. I said it. I told you this was going to happen. I told everybody it was going to happen. I didn't want to be right. This Superman movie looks terrible. I'm saying it right now. It's going to be
It
dog
does
shit.
look
That's
bad.
dog water.
I almost used the F word.
I saw.
Yeah.
Dog water. This movie is.
Dog water.
It's gonna be worse than late 90s Batman. I'm calling it. It's gonna be worse than
Yeah.
that fucking nonsense that is Refrigerator Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
It's gonna
because,
be.
Superman is lighthearted, as you said, but it's also serious and sincere at the same time.
That's right.
It's
He can't
not
do that.
jokey. We saw what
No.
happened when they tried to make a jokey one and they brought Richard Pryor in. It was an absolute debacle. I mean, let's
Yes.
be
And
fair.
that's with Richard Pryor, for fuck's sake.
And he's
One of the
good at
funniest men to
that, but
ever act in a movie.
it doesn't work with Superman. So his yuck style is going to absolutely kill this. Anyway, let's move on. This is just bullshit, dude. It's pure bullshit. Anyway, this right here, I don't know how I feel about it.
Russell Crowe cast as Ramirez in Henry Cavill's Highlander reboot. Well, I mean, listen, we went with a Scotsman the first time, so why not go with the Aussie? I think he's an Aussie, right? Or New Zealand, or whatever he is. Why not? Why not? Why not go the complete opposite direction of Spain entirely?
Yeah.
Now we're in the wrong hemisphere. Now we're
Why not Antonio Banderas? He could hack it.
why couldn't they find a single Spanish man?
There are good
There's
ones.
got to be one. There's got to be at least one.
There are a few. I mean,
Now listen.
Yeah.
I love Russell Crowe. He is my favorite living actor. He probably always will be until the day that he or I die. His run from 1999 to 2009 is the greatest run of movies ever made by a singular actor, in my opinion. It's phenomenal. When you look at the filmography back then that he was pumping out, it's just world star career performances every film. Just bang, 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 one after the other. So
yeah,
he might be in my opinion, he's the greatest living actor going right now when he wants to be, when he gives a shit. The last 10, 15 years or so, he's just been cashing checks. Let's just call it what it is. And I can't hate him for it.
No, I don't either. He's an older guy, but if he's going to do this, he's going to have to lose a lot of weight, though. And we know he's capable of it. He's more than capable, but he's going to have to get serious and lose a lot of weight because he's, and
well, you got Henry there. Henry can help him.
Yeah. Well, no, he knows how. And to be fair, the roles he's been playing kind of are fine for a heavier man. But he's going to have to slim down, which will be good for his health anyway. Getting older, we have to slim down to play the Ramirez, and if he does that and he takes it seriously, it could be a banger, dude. It could be a banger.
Russell's the man when he, like I said, when he gives a shit, he's like Randy Orton. He's so good that even his halfway performance is better than 99% of everybody else. He's just that good. But when he's actually like, let's party, nobody can touch him. It's not even close. It's not even debatable, or at least going right now. At his age, at his level, nobody touches him. The man won like 3 Oscars in a row, like 2 years in a row, and then one later too, because he just wanted to. He just decided he was going to win him this year, and that was it. Russell Crowe is one of the greatest actors to ever live that we know of at the top level. So if he's really in, and he commits to it, this could be something. We know Henry's going to kill it. He's going to be phenomenal. We saw what he can do. Geralt is a similar enough character, depending on how they write, of course, the McLeod, whatever his name's going to be. This, I don't think it's bad news. I just do think it's a little silly that they still didn't get a Spaniard.
I know.
They could have
It's so
done that.
especially there's so many guys that could do it, right? Just go get a Spanish actor in their movie industry, right? Who's, like go get
Yeah,
their best one. He's going to be
go get a
cheaper than
Spaniard.
Russell, I guarantee you that.
Oh
Um,
yes.
but of course, this brings up a lot of questions, and I want to kind of focus on this. Seeing as he's being cast directly as Ramirez, that means
Yeah,
that we do know that Henry is playing Connor McLeod, right?
that's right.
So okay, which everyone was kind of wondering, are we going to get a third Highlander? But
Right,
no,
a
we're
new
getting a
McLeod.
remake. Now, of course, here is the big question. Clancy Brown, the Almighty,
That's right. Yeah, Lord
uh,
Clancy Brown. That's right.
played the Kurgan, and I
The,
I
he's the
don't.
best part of the whole movie.
He
It's not even close.
is, and how in the hell do you replace that with who? And it mentions here that they originally were talking about Dave Bautista. Fuck right
Batista.
off.
Batista's a little. Listen, I don't hate Batista as an actor.
No,
I
but
don't. I
he
think
ain't
he's
got that. He ain't got that.
no. He doesn't have that in him, and he also is a little old now. Like he's up there with me. I think he's older or as old as Russell. I don't know if he'd be able to pull off Kurgan. He's in
No.
great shape. I just saw pictures of him recently. He's back shredded. He looks great. I'll give Batista that. He looks phenomenal. But Kurgan needs to be around the same age as the Highlander, at least aesthetically. Obviously, they're all supposed to be hundreds, whatever, blah blah blah.
He
But
should be
aesthetically, he needs to be
Slavic,
around the same.
please.
Slavic, and he needs to be charismatic. Clancy Brown's Kurgan is so charismatic, you can't help but laugh at the guy. He's
Oh,
so
you love
funny.
him. You love him.
He's amazing.
He's such an
So he's
asshole.
got to
It's
be that
great.
guy. Now, I'm not saying Batista can't do it. I just don't think he has it in him, personally. Maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe he will. Maybe
Oh,
he'll come out and be like, all right, hey, cool. But I don't think it's necessary. If I had to pick, they already had him under contract recently. They have him under contract currently. If you need a big son of a bitch, right? Because you do, go get Alan Richson and just let him be Kurgan. And we can have Henry and Alan in a movie together again, except this time they're fighting each other.
yeah, but
And I want to see it.
can Alan pull that off though?
Yes. And I know here's how I know he can, because in the recent Fast and Furious movies, he's what spoiler, he's one of the villains in there, and he's does a phenomenal job of the menacing. See, Kurgan is while he is funny, because he's ridiculous, he's menacing. He's got great
Oh
menace
yeah.
because
No, Clancy
Clancy's got that
killed that
voice,
dude.
he's
Yeah.
got that size, he's a big bitch. He had menace to him,
It's
and he
better to
was,
yeah.
threatening.
It's better to burn
So
out than fade away.
I mean, he ain't wrong.
He ain't
So I
wrong.
think Alan could probably do it. The problem you have with Alan is Alan doesn't have that voice. He's got I mean, his voice is fine, but it's just not Clancy Brown. And
No.
Clancy Brown's voice with Kurgan, and they even gave it a reason why his voice is like that because his throat was slit. That's how he died originally.
Right.
Um, so he had a
Well,
messed
no,
up voice box.
Ramirez cut him
Yeah,
down. Yeah.
yeah. So my point is, oh, that's right. My point is that's hard to replace. Clancy's overall presence as the Kurgan, and just in general, and his voice, which he's made a great career off of. Good for him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Well, and among other things, including Lex Luthor. Um, that's really hard. Those shoes are really hard to fill.
They
So you
are.
need somebody with size because Kurgan is supposed to. Henry's already a big son of a bitch. Kurgan is supposed to be much bigger and much stronger than him. That's
Yeah.
kind of the reason
Kind of
why
the
he's a
point.
problem.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be able to beat him in a sword fight. Honestly, I don't know who else you get unless it would have to be somebody like a Batista or Alan Richson, who's already under contract with Amazon, is why he's perfect, in my opinion. He's already under contract with them. You just get him in there, get him to sign some stuff, bam,
Well,
now he's in this movie, and there you go.
let me throw out potentially an odd choice.
Mhm.
There's a family of Europeans that have
Uh-huh.
been quite hot of the last decade.
Uh-huh.
I can't
Think I know where
remember
you're
the
going.
name offhand, but the Northmen,
Talking about
Nosferatu,
Skarsgårds,
Skarsgårds. There you go.
which is such a good name. Them damn Nords and their names, they're the best.
They have good name.
Skarsgård. Them and the
But
Celts.
one of those boys might be a good Kurgan because the thing about those
He could.
boys, they are quite fit,
Yeah.
and they all of them can act really well,
They are good actors,
right?
yeah. Get the guy who
Now,
played Northman. Why not? He's big enough. He could
yeah,
pull it
they're
off.
big enough. They're in good shape. They're close enough to the racial group,
Okay.
and I have a feeling one of those boys, might be able to pull off a Kurgan,
Yeah.
maybe.
When I was growing up, Chester, because
Hmm.
Highlander was one of my favorite movies. I love the whole franchise. I watched the show even as a
Sure.
kid. I loved it. I always did. Thought it was a really amazing concept, and it is. Um, when I first watched Highlander, I didn't know what a Kurgan was. I just thought that was his name. So I just, for whatever reason, always just assumed that until later when I learned what Kurgans are. But
He's not Kurgan.
it's
He's a Kurgan.
that's right. He's a Kurgan. It's just interesting. That's how well he embodied it. He embodied it so well. It's one of those performances that it's in the movie it's in. It has no business being this good, but it's phenomenal. Even my boy Sean Connery, rest him. Ramirez isn't his greatest performance. It's not terrible, but it's not his greatest performance. Uh, because it's not that movie, right? Highlander wasn't supposed to be that movie. It just is. It's a cult classic and grew into this massive franchise largely because of Queen, let's be honest, yeah, Freddie Mercury, but also because of our boy Clancy. So
Yeah.
you gotta have to bring something. Now this one has a lot more star power. Henry Cavill, obviously, apparently also Russell Crowe. That's a lot of star power right at the front for your two protagonists. Um, so you would think you're gonna need somebody with some juice for the villain. There's just not that many big sons of bitches out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
There's
you're gonna
only a
need.
few you're gonna get.
Yeah, and it's a difficult, and it's pivotal. Your film
Yes.
is really relying on the Kurgan, and it's weird when you kind of melt it all down. It really needs you need that. And just for you guys who don't know what a Kurgan is actually referring to a type of burial. It's
Yep.
basically a burial mound, right? They put a grave in and they cover it with dirt and make like a little hill. That's a kurgan, right?
That's right.
But this is very endemic of the people of the Caspian Steppe, the Caucasus Mountains, and of course, kurgan is what we would call a Ukrainian word, coming
Yep.
from Kurhan. And of course, it just means high grave. Right, that's
Yep.
what a kurgans are. So they're the people of, around the Black Sea, that area, right?
Yes.
Is what a Kurgan
Yes.
is. So,
Oh, Clancy Brown is I might have to go watch Highlander after this just
yeah, no,
because he's
yeah,
so funny.
he's
He's
so
so
great.
good. He's having
Um,
such a good time. You can tell.
and it is a weird situation because that is such a pivotal role. Brock Lesnar, oh no,
Well, yeah, the problem is Brock, I don't know if he's got the
he's got
acting
the
for it.
acting. That's the
He's got the
problem. You need a
body,
great
he's
actor. We
got the
have big,
size.
yeah, yeah, we have big guys, but that's not the issue. The issue is the acting. And Maple She's picking fights anyway. He's, you know, Ernest P. Worrell has a better run than Russell Crowe. All right, be like that, Sheik.
This guy.
Yeah,
Listen to this guy. Uh, that's just my opinion. I'm not gonna sit there and state it for a fact, but I genuinely think his
Russell's good.
about 10 years there
It's a good
was
run. It is.
just unbelievable.
I would say he has a better run than Anthony Hopkins, even though I think Anthony is a better actor a little bit. Um, but as far as a run of success, Russell Crowe was badass, dude, for
Yeah,
sure.
he was just the guy for about a decade. He just didn't miss. He
All
did
right.
not miss.
So we go from a situation, this could be a great fun movie. We got Henry, who we know loves it. Russell Crowe, if he gets in shape, takes it seriously, could be a great Ramirez. They need to cast a good Kurgan. Let's go from potential good to wow, baby.
Yeah, I heard about this. 28 years later, box office undeforming. I think that's supposed to be underperforming.
Underperforming, yes.
Yeah,
Matt,
undeforming.
what are you
Matt, come
doing,
on,
Matt
Matt.
McGloin?
Fan reaction cold. Uh-oh. They're cold to it. They're not warm.
Well, let me explain why. The first 30, 45 minutes or so of this movie is a kind of a visual spectacle. Cool,
Mm,
right?
okay.
But then they get in their storytelling, and that's where the movie falls apart, completely falls apart, because it is ultra woke movie.
Of course it is. Yep.
If you watch
I have a few more of these.
the 28 series, we know in the second one that the zombies have regained a certain amount of sapience, right?
Yes.
They're not what they were, but they're like this predatory thing that has some intelligence. 28 years later, they are, instead of 28 months later, or whatever it was,
Days.
they have kind of fallen into culture now. So you have the zombie culture and the human culture, and of course the humans have to barricade themselves. I'm not
Mm.
going to get into all the details and plot points. It doesn't matter, because basically what this movie is about is the man is bad, whether he be a human man or a zombie man. Man bad, man bad, bad, bad. Done. There's your movie.
Just ugh is my response to that.
Yeah.
Um, Chester, remember I told you there's the theory, and I don't know if it's really a theory. I'd say it's just what happened. Of we had what we call the Dark Ages. Obviously, it's a little bit of a misnomer, but that's what we call
Yeah.
it. One of the main reasons I've heard for this event, this time that happened, at least the most recent one, was that exactly what you just said, man bad. There was a lot of shaming of anything overtly masculine, we'll call it. The man was shamed heavily, especially by the church. They didn't like things men like. Uh and they still don't. They're still very feminine. And
Dude, they wear
there
dresses.
was a lot of that. Yes, there was a lot of that, especially from the pulpits. And they had the men just kind of gave up. They said, all right, fine, we'll just be peasants. Screw it. Why work? Why try harder? And so they did. And for a very long time, that's what it was. There was revolts and stuff, of course, too, but you know what I'm saying. That was what it was. And it created an era that we call the Dark Ages now, where there was a high level of ignorance among the common person, which is why it's called that. Or at least there's a perception of that. Whether it's true or not is a different conversation. Well, we've been going through a very similar lead up like they had. Now,
Oh yeah.
there was a lot of that in the late classical period that led into what we call the Dark Ages of this man hating. And it's not good because, believe it or not, I know this is a crazy idea. Half of the people on the planet happen to be men, and they also happen to be half of the creation of other people.
Yeah.
Kind of need them. We're
I,
kind of important to the equation.
odd
We're
that.
on the yeah, funny that. So when the men give up, things just kind of stop. Things get worse for everybody. They either stagnate or they just get worse. And that's where we're at now. We see a lot of it. You're talking about the woke stuff. Man bad, man bad. The
Right.
end of the day, all of it just boils down to a deep-seated hatred of competent masculinity. Not just masculinity. They love them some cucked masculinity. They love that. Like your fruity artists, right? They love that. I'm talking about masculinity that's capable and competent and protective. They hate that. The enemy hates that stuff because they can't then do what they want. Because it's very hard to turn an entire generation of young women into whores if there's a phalanx of men, typically older men, who will refuse to allow that to happen. And also, of course, you need the women to help too, but different conversation. It gets much harder to corrupt people with degeneracy and all sorts of things if you have the force that was created, in my opinion, by the Almighty of known as God to be the vanguard of decency and virtue, which is that fatherly, as they call it. It's very interesting. They tell you exactly what they hate. They tell you exactly how to beat them, as the devil is wont to do. He lets you know how to beat him. The thing they cannot defeat is the hierarchy created by God himself, the patriarchy. That is what they're terrified of. That is why they demonize the man, because
Right.
they know if there's a strong patriarchal society all the way down, not just at the top, which it always is at the top, by the way, spoilers, always is at the top, all the way down, it's very, very hard, or really it's impossible, to destroy that society. It's never happened. A patriarchal society has never been destroyed like that. They've lost wars and been conquered, but they've never been corrupted down. They had to first well, they were corrupted, but they were corrupted away from being patriarchal. They had to first feminize the society. It happened in late Rome. It happened at the beginning of the Dark Ages, as we call it, where they would go about on this long men suck, you're bad, you're evil, you didn't do anything good, you can't do anything good, and anything good you might have done, you're an idiot, right? Like, it's that shit.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever had a girlfriend who was a piece of shit knows exactly what I'm talking about. Because
Oh
no
yeah.
matter what you did, you were always wrong.
Right.
Always. Always wrong.
I didn't have them very long.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
This institution that we're in now, and I say institution, I mean all over the place, of this man hating, that's what it is. No matter what you do, you're the bad guy. They've literally said this in television shows, Chester. Verbatim those words.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a straight white man. You're always the bad guy.
Right.
Those words were said.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. Hang on. How about every single invention, pretty much, of the last 700 or so years? We don't get credit for that?
Or all
Nope.
the freedoms and the peace and the prosperity
Nope.
and all that stuff, of course.
None of that.
But yeah, no, of course we all know this is true, and of course you can see in this one little picture is why I've been lingering here. Look how filthy he is, and look how clean they are, right?
Yes.
Why? Right? They're
Why would
making a
that be?
point. They're making a point.
Yeah.
And if I go back over here, I can make another point related to this. Now, there are a lot of dumb shit in this movie. For instance, white people can't do music. Huh?
Of course they
But at the same time, they prove that white people can do music in the movie. They're so stupid, right?
That's right.
But in this movie, this would have been a way better movie if they started the movie out where they had their villain should have been a black guy because it's a black movie about black people for black people. Make it a black guy, right? And
Yep.
the black guy is sitting in a theater watching some performance from an amazing singer or piano player or something. And then behind the scenes, after the show, he goes and he steals their memories by, vampirizing them. Right?
Right.
You introduce your bad guy. We know who he is. We know why he's doing what he's doing. You're building upon the theme of the muse and it being stolen by an evil vampire. And then the rest of the movie, cut out all the little white dumb stuff that happens here or there, and just do your movie. Now we know you're vampire. We understand why he's doing what he's doing because at the very end you kind of get what he was after, but they
Mhm.
just didn't flesh it out. So they could have made the movie better by just taking all the white people out, right?
Right.
But of course they didn't do that, and the whole thing is about white man bad.
Mhm.
And once again, it's the same mentality. It's not benefiting you. How is this helping you to scream at white people? All it's doing is reducing your fan base, right?
Yes.
And it's a shame. But they do this all the time. And this series, I've never been a huge fan. I don't really give a shit about 28 series, but they do have their fans, and they went and ruined it. They ruined it. And at the end, it's hinted at for all girl next movie. And yeah, you're not going to make money at all, dude. They just
No.
absolutely screwed themselves,
Yes.
right? Because woke. And I
They
just
can't help
wanted
themselves.
No, and I just want to kind of look at the various things that are being talked about here. We got John Berthal is going to be in Spider-Man 4, also Hulk. Weird. Of course, Feige is pushing the hell out of Fantastic Four and for Avengers Doomsday, but of course they're not talking about the new Avengers at all because it flopped. I already talked about how woke that is. Um, look, we don't have to talk about that. We were talked about Superman. Marvel, of course, is like, oh, we don't care. We're going to keep making movies. We got X-Men coming, Black Panther 3, Blade, yeah, right. Wolverine, yeah, sure. Now, are any of those things going to be any good? Not if they keep following the pattern they are. And what the hell are you going to do with Black Panther 3? No one wants Shuri as Black Panther. Nobody wants it.
Nobody.
Even the
Not a
black
person.
dudes don't want that, right? And of
Right.
course, this whole Blade thing that Ali there is a great choice, But when they announced this, what is it been a decade? 8 years? It's been a
Uh,
long time since they announced it, dude. A long time.
been a while. Been a while. Yeah.
He's getting old, and and it's a shame because I think he would have made a fine replacement for Wesley,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, so what else we got here? I have no idea. What is tires?
I
I don't
have
know.
no idea. Never heard of this.
But take a look at this. They've decided that Paramount, or I think it's still Paramount, right? Or is it Columbia? Well, one of the, I think it's Paramount. They are going to reboot the original series again.
Boy, oh boy.
Why?
Why?
Star Trek never
Why?
did that. Star Trek always created something new. What are you
Yes.
doing, Dull Blade? Alan, that's funny.
He's a
It turns
funny boy,
it
that
turns
Alan.
out that they were originally going to put this actress as Black Panther in the new movie they're making. They're going to have yet another new Black Panther that's a female, but they decided
Oh
now
boy.
let's just put her in Ironheart, which is a bomb waiting to come. And of course, James Gunn trying to act like he knows something, yelling at Marvel and other people about how much they suck. And it's like, well, James, we have that little thing about stones and glass houses there, James. James, okay. Of course, we know Robert Downey was up there shilling the hell out of this Ironheart, and it's like, how much did they pay him for it? Oh, well, they paid a lot of money to this guy over the years. Um, they
Oh
have
yeah.
a Giganto footage shows off with female Silver Surfer. No one gives a shit. Sandman trailer 2, The Gay Nightmare. Okay, great. Anybody excited about that? Now, to be
No.
fair, Neil Gaiman is always been about that, metrosexual crap. I mean, he's always been that way, but it was written pretty well. But this series really wants to lean on the gay more than the story, which is stupid. Um,
Yeah.
it looks like they have cast Clayface, but what movie is he going to be in? Is he going to be in the Batman 2? Because that's what they were talking about. But this is just some random article saying this kid has been cast. How in the hell have you cast somebody for something if you don't even supposedly have a script? What? Hold on a second.
Ridiculous.
Oh, that's right, because they do have a script. Fucking liars.
Lion sons of so and so's, you know?
Yeah, and I love this little one right
Lion.
here. The original Blade writer laughs at the MCU struggles. It's a simple story, dumbass. And he,
Yeah, I mean, it can't be much more simple than, "Oh, he's a vampire who kills vampires." Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty
okay.
simple. Pretty simple.
Pretty
Anyway,
straightforward.
there's some other things I could have talked about. An M solo movie, maybe. I don't know, dude. It depends on which Clayface they do. We've speculated ourselves here that the Clayface they'll be doing will be the original one, which has no supernatural abilities. He's just a theater actor that's really good at disguise, kind of like Pink Panther, but without the comedy. I hope instead of the supernatural version of it is what we've kind of. I think we're probably right on that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do our end of show stuff.
Let's check
So
it out.
let's see how it's been. Now I've been down a couple of weeks because I went Tokyo, and then of course we had then this week. So let's take a look. So How to Train Your Dragon came out last week, and it has had some controversy because they of course have to insinuate nonsense into it. But in general, it's a little kids movie. My kids like the TV show. You ever watch it?
The TV show? I
Yeah.
think my wife's watched it before.
Or was it
I
little
like the
movies?
movie
Was it
series.
movies maybe?
Oh, yeah, there was 3 movies, and they're all
Movies.
phenomenal.
That's what it was.
They're
Yeah,
all
it was
really
fun.
good.
It was fun stuff with the
It's
kids.
one of those Western animations that, while it's still obviously very much for families, it's not afraid to be serious. Like, there's
Yeah,
death, like actual death
sure.
in this series. Um, I appreciate that because it's pretty rare in the West. We don't Our animation's typically much more lighthearted, but this gets pretty heavy in some parts. So, I appreciate that. I think it's one of the better of the modern last 20 years or so series of animation, that's come out of the West. It's right near the top of How They Train Your Dragon. So I don't understand why we needed a live action version. Like, was there a big demand? Apparently not. Not too huge of a
Not really
demand. I mean, it's
much.
made some money here, but I don't
It's
know.
made about
I don't know.
170 million,
Yeah,
and that's not breaking even yet, but that it might. It might. I'm kind of surprised it didn't even hit harder than that. That's a 2-week total, right?
right.
But it might end up breaking even or even being profitable. It's possible.
Yep.
It's possible. But I guarantee you 170 million ain't enough so far. But
No.
like I said, there is a little bit of controversy because they had to throw blacks in it for some reason, even though it's a Scandinavian story. But whatever. This right here, wow, dude, boy, did that stumble.
Wait a
thirty
minute. How did
million
they hit
dollars.
perfectly? How did they hit even like that? Hang on. Wait a minute.
It's a bit weird, isn't
Perfectly?
it? It's a bit
That's
weird.
pretty weird.
It is weird.
That's pretty weird.
But
Um, hmm. Things that make you go,
hmm,
hmm.
but it stumbled, and I think it stumbled because I just think a lot of people are like, whatever, you know. It has its fans, but most of us are like, it was all right? And
Right.
it's been a while, and of course, it immediately started getting bad hype because of it's ultra woke. I mean,
Right.
ultra woke, not even a little bit, just slamming you in the head woke.
Right.
Every little thing, of course, the leader of the human area, of course, is a woman and she's right and perfect all the time. The little savior chosen baby is a little girl. I mean, every little teeny thing is woke, not just the main stuff in your face. It's all about man bad, women good. And of course, they're paying for it.
Yep.
It is what it is.
That's what happens.
They're not going to learn. This Elio, do you know anything about this? This thing didn't make any damn money at all.
I do not. Walt Disney Studio Motion Pictures. That's
I
weird. Is that
I
really the
think
full name of Disney now?
uh,
Studios Motion Pictures? That's weird.
I guess it
Um,
is. I think we looked at this trailer, didn't we? And it was
yes,
kind of
yes,
weird. It was kind of
yes.
weird. But now that right there is a harsh, harsh kick in the head.
Yeah, no,
That's harsh,
that's
dude.
not enough. That's not enough
No,
money.
that's like 17 million. They spent 3 to 500 million on this. They did.
I don't know how Disney's even still in business. I'll be
Nah, it's
honest
a
with you.
scam, dude.
I get they have some big hits here or there. They do.
Yeah,
But man, it just seems like the amount of bombs that they have massively outweighs the
yeah.
occasional hits they get.
Yeah, and
I
even
don't get it.
if this was bare bones animation for Disney, it's a minimum 150 bucks, 150 million bucks, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And dude, 17 million, man,
It's not good.
not
It's not
good.
what you want.
No, and that's not gonna burgeon much beyond that, right? So you're
Right.
looking at what, $100 million loss minimum,
Minimum,
if the
the man
numbers were
said.
honest. Let me see what Lilo and Stitch is doing. Hmm, it's probably made money. It's
Yeah, oh,
probably
yeah,
made money.
it's made some money. And that's okay. It's a shame because it doesn't deserve to, but
No.
it's what it is. Is what it is.
All right. All right. They that
They're
might be in the
close.
money. It might be in the
They're
money.
close.
Especially with this one because this was shot during COVID. So, ironically, they would have saved quite a bit of money because of the
Well, not
restrictions,
only
right?
that, they get a big stipend, or at least they did last time. They get a big stipend from the American government for shooting during COVID, for basically working.
Mm,
It's still available to them because this movie was being made during COVID. So most likely they're gonna end up getting that on the back end again as well.
right.
So if they do, then they've made money. They're
Yeah.
fine. Um, which is good because I want more of their attitude in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Sure. I
Even if
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just get it. They get
Yeah.
it that it's all about the fans. It's not about
Yeah.
nothing else. I mean, Tom Cruise is a weirdo. I'm not gonna sit here and praise him on a personal level as far as his personal life, but the true reality of it is I don't give a shit about his personal life. He's never been arrested for anything of any grave consequence that I know of. So I don't care what he
Yeah.
does in his personal life
And
as long as he does it with consenting adults.
and he
Not my business.
respects us,
Yes. And
and
he
that's
doesn't care
really
about yours either. That's what's great. He does not give a shit. He wants to entertain you. That is all he cares about.
thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Tom.
Cruise.
You
Thank you.
understand your
Yes.
job.
Yes.
You understand
Um,
your function in society, Tom. Thank you.
yes, he does. And to be fair, the them shooting it under COVID restrictions and is what really hurt the movie as well. As far as because,
Yeah,
like I said, I watched it, I talked about it. It's not great. It's not. It's got some moments, but it's not. The last one was much better. But the COVID thing is what really hurt it. But it looks like it also helped it. But whatever, it is what it is. Um, what is this? Maternalists, materialists. God, that looks
oh,
stupid.
material. I was like, what the hell's a maternalist? The hell
Yeah.
is that about?
Let
By
me
having
see. Is
babies?
this a ballerina thing? Yeah, no, that didn't make money. But then again, it's who no one wants that shit. Let me see here. What's going on with the bloodlines? Oh my God, dude, look at that.
Yeah, that's
Holy
good.
crap. I know we just saw bigger numbers and I was like, ooh, that's not good. But we're talking about the cost to make stuff, right?
That's right.
This is a Warner Brothers movie, so it's going to be a little pricier than, say, a Lionsgate movie, right? However,
Right.
these kind of little horror movies are low budget, dude, right?
Right.
Now, to be fair, the cinematography in this movie is excellent. I mean, excellent, dude. That's one of the better parts of it is the cinematography.
Right.
And there are some special effects, of course, but they're background blended stuff, and you don't notice them, which of course is important. But 280 million, therefore 140 million in the pocket, dude. They're broke even for sure, if not already in the red. I mean the black. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
No, they should have made their money. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
they probably spent 50 million on it, and say another 50 on, so they're probably 40 million in the bank right now. So rock on, dude.
Yeah.
Let me see here. The Phoenician scheme. I don't even want to look at that. The Life of Chuck. All right, Sinners. This movie probably made money. Probably
Oh, it
did.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. It was cheap,
It probably
right?
was. But like I said, it could have been a way better movie. It really is a shame. But racist got a racist.
Can't help themselves. It seems. Cannot help themselves.
This movie here is around 170 million. We know it's 400, so it's 230 in the hole, and it's not going to get any better. Um, wow, dude, what's this Kubera? What's this? Some foreign flick?
Vera. Somebody asked for this.
Yeah, it's a foreign flick. It looks like Iranian or something like that. Which doesn't mean it's not bad. Doesn't mean it's not good. The Unholy Trinity. This has got Pierce Bronson, Samuel L. Jackson is some guy I don't know. It looks interesting though, but boy, it didn't make any damn money. Look at that, dude. Holy crap.
Oof. What the hell? How many theaters was it in? Oh, it's
700,
only in a
not
few
a lot,
theaters. Yeah.
but that's low. Maybe this is a streaming service thing. I don't know. I've seen trailer for it. I've seen it pop up in the finished databases because this one came to Blu-ray quick, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that was the intention. They just did kind of a release to get some free advertisement, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's any good, but the trailer looked good. And it's got Pierce Bronson, who I like, Samuel L. Jackson, who I like, and some dude I don't know. Okay. Let's continue down here. Jane Austen. Fuck off, Jane Austen. Familiar Touch. Dogtooth. 15th anniversary. What the hell? Oh, right, right, right. No, I've seen this movie. This is an older movie. It was like on wow. These days it's all about Shudder, the horror movie stuff, but like 15, 20 years ago there was another company that was doing a lot of horror stuff. It was like almost like an online magazine. Can't remember the name of it. Damn it. But anyway, I was looking on there and it suggested it. This movie is not for everyone at all. This is a very limited amount of people would watch this. Um,
Oh,
it's brutal. It's overly sexual. It's incestuous.
oh boy.
It's fucked up. It's one of those really really fucked up movies, and it's the intention. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't recommend it. I can't. It was interesting idea, but it's just debauchery, really. Okay.
Great
Eh,
debauchery. Nobody
yeah.
wants it. Nobody asked for it.
Well, sometimes things that are debaucherous can be interesting, right? Like
Right.
the first Feast movie. Have you ever seen Feast?
I have not.
It's very vulgar, brutal, grotesque, very.
Hmm.
But it works really. It's a cool little movie. Then the second and third ones are dumb,
Real dumb.
and vulgar and grotesque and gratuitous. No, it's not Fangoria. I used to read that magazine when I was a kid, Ellen. I can't remember it's not it's not Shutter, but it has that similar feel of a name. It was like 20 years ago or so. Anyway, but Dogtooth, it's a weird little movie. Um, it's a weird little movie, and I don't recommend it because it's really too much. But
Right.
it's one of those movies that wants to shock you with its depravity. It's one of those kinds
Mm.
of movies, like the Centipede thingy. What was the name of that series? The Human Centipede?
Uh,
Is that what it is?
yes. Yes.
Yeah. The first one was a weird little movie. The second one was wow, why, and the third one was like, huh? You know, just pure
Correct.
debauchery. And like I said, occasionally those kind of movies can be interesting, but it's tough. It's tough.
Yes. It
Um,
is.
is there any kind of movie that's just over the top vulgar that you like?
Yes. I like, and it not because they're good, but because they're just fun to me. I like, oh, what is the name of the first one? The second one's The Devil's Rejects. It's the Rob Zombie movies.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
like his stuff too.
the hell is the name of that movie? Someone, I bet Alan knows what I'm
The
talking
House of a
about. There's
Thousand
there's
Corpses.
yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I like it. It's not a good movie. It's just
No.
fun.
No.
I understand why he made it. I understand the spirit of it,
Sure.
and I enjoy it. And it's I like The Devil's Rejects a lot too. Um, for
Yeah.
the same reasons.
No, and to be fair, that movie was actually way worse than it was because they had to cut a lot and leave a lot on the editing floor because of they just had
Yes.
to. So yeah, that those movies aren't as depraved as some movies are, though,
No, for sure.
right? But to be fair, Rob Zombie's Halloween was two of them, right?
Yes.
Those are my favorite Halloween movies, plain and simple. I thought he
Yeah.
told the story better than Carpenter or anybody else.
Really.
I know that's sacrilege to a lot of people, but no, for me, the Rob Zombie Halloweens are the best. Um, now, is Devil Rejects I enjoyed more than House of a Thousand Corpses. Um,
Yeah.
his Salem movie he made was I know what he was going for. You also have Suspiria, and of course the remake, which was even more vulgar, which is
Yep.
weird that you try to outdo D'Argento. What is his name there? I think that's right. Um,
Yes. I believe you're correct.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But wow. But anyway, that Dogtooth movie, I can't recommend it, but it is debauched, dude. But the idea
Very
is
brutal.
it is,
Very
but the
brutal.
idea is really clever because this, like it said in the description, you have a father who keeps his family locked in a compound, and the way he does this is not with violence and keys. He does it with lies. The outside world is going to kill you. It's going to destroy you. Something about the teeth, because in the end, the little girl escapes. Spoilers. She escapes because she pulls all her teeth out. Therefore, she's safe from the outside world, and she
Right.
escapes into the world, into a trunk, in somebody's trunk. Uh, but but to try to deal with nuances of human life. He brings in prostitutes for his son to have sex with, but that doesn't go over well, so he just has the son have sex with the daughter. Just all of this debauchery going on because he's desperate to keep his family here and not go outside the bounds of their yard, right?
Right.
It's just a weird, really twisted movie, and it's meant to be, right? And like I said,
Yeah.
the end scene is a little girl tearing all her teeth out and leaving them in the sink as she hides in someone's trunk to escape.
Excellent.
Yeah. So there you
Just
go.
excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's there's some dark shit out there. There's some dark ass movies.
There are. Um, and often they're just stupid.
Yes.
It's like, ooh, I'm going to show you something shocking. Ooh. And I suppose if I was a teenager, maybe I would be, but I'm a man that has been all over the world and seen humans.
Yeah. And we
So
suck.
we
We're the
do.
worst.
We are the
We
worst.
are the worst.
You know,
No,
one,
humans are a problem.
yeah.
Problem we have not solved.
Actually, one of the most sincere expressions of "we are the worst" actually comes from Snoop Dogg. I know, of all people, and he's talking
From
about,
old Snoop.
well, he's talking about black people, ghetto black is what he's talking about. But he just
Mhm.
like, "We are the worst." But it was such sincerity.
Yes.
It was dripping with it, right?
It was
Um,
an honest moment for our
it
boy
was
Snoop.
super honest, and of course, he's not wrong. Ghetto sucks. And like I said, it comes in all colors all over the world. You know, ghetto sucks.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as far as that expression, "we are the worst," that the best I ever heard was from Snoop. So sincere.
Old Snoopy Poo.
Mm.
I love Snoop. Snoop probably doesn't love me very much. That's all right, Snoop. I forgive you.
Well, he is
You've brought
lovable.
me you've brought me loads of entertainment.
Oh
So I
yeah,
can't hate you. Can't hate you.
I know. I mean, I my very first interaction, as with many of us, was with Gin and Juice, and that's such a catchy little song.
It is.
And
It's a
he's just
great
talking
song.
about having fun at a party. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's having a good time.
yeah,
He's having a good time. You're not hurting nobody. He's having a
no,
good time.
no, trying to stay out of trouble and just go to a party. Yeah,
Yep. He's got his mind on his money, and his money is on his mind
that's
while
right.
he's sipping on gin and juice. That's it.
That's right.
You
That's
can't
it.
beat that.
Can't beat that. Well, he
Uh,
definitely is catchy in his stuff, but he's kind of got that voice that really lends to his style really well, right?
yeah, he found his niche
He
and he
did,
stayed in it.
and he
That
stayed
maybe
right
that's
in
the
it.
theme. Know your niche and stay in it. Be
Yeah.
like Tom Cruise, be like Snoop Dogg, which granted he did try to get out of it a couple times and fucked himself up, but he got right back in it and it was fine.
He
Everybody
was
was
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, no, that's the lesson, folks. Find what you're really good at and just do that thing.
You
And
know,
maybe if you're good enough, you'll get paid for it.
yeah, that's right. And in a way, he's almost the modern Cheech and Chong.
Yes, he very
Really?
much likes the ganja. He's a
Yeah,
big
well,
fan.
the lovable pothead. I mean, because that's what
Yeah,
they were. They were lovable potheads. They were completely innocuous and innocent. They weren't harming anyone whatsoever, and they were
right.
lovable. That's why everyone loves Cheech and Chong stuff. And
Yep.
he's the same. He's very lovable. Now, has he ever done any bad stuff in his life? Ah, maybe. But he comes across that way. And I really was happy to see him in that Day Shift movie with um what's that Fox boy that's the racist kid, Jamie Fox.
I was
um
about to say you're gonna have to be more descriptive than that, I'm afraid.
yeah. That movie, it was that could have been more interesting if they had fleshed it out a little bit more, but he's in there.
Yep.
It's not great, but it's just fun to see Snoop. That's all.
Yep. No, he's one of the people that my loving wife will pop for whenever she sees him. She loves it. She loves her some Snoop. It's just he's become that. He's
Yeah.
become that kind of like cultural. What's the term for it? There's a term
Icon.
for it. Not yeah, icon, but it's a different kind, right? It's just he's fun. He
He's one
loves
of
like
us.
he'll show up at wrestling. He's been at multiple
Oh yeah,
WrestleManias,
I've seen him.
had
Yeah.
different things to do, and it's
Scrawny
always a
ass.
good time. Yeah, he's having a good time. Everybody's having a good time with him. Why
Yeah.
not? Let's
Yeah.
have some fun.
Nah, he's one of
Let's
those
have some fun.
lovable American characters. Yeah, he for
Yes.
certainly is.
National treasure. That's the word
National
I was looking
treasure.
for.
Oh, fair enough.
National treasure. Yeah.
Well, technically, the true national treasure, of course, is Nick Cage.
Yeah. Well, yes, but there's only so many levels you can be. See, there's his level, and then there's like the level Snoop exists at.
That's fair. That's fair. How many other national treasures we got right now, though? There's not as many as we used to have, huh?
And no, because our nation's culture is a mess, and it's become very globalized.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, whether you
Tom,
like it
yeah.
or not, he
No,
is.
I think I go with that.
He's American boy. He's people should look into Tom's life. Yeah, I get the Scientology stuff is fucked up. I'm not denying that. But if you look at like his before he was famous life, he had an interesting life. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Makes sense why he believes some weird cult shit. Uh,
He's a hard worker. Keanu Reeves. There's another national treasure.
Yeah, Keanu's beloved. Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood, while we still have him.
Yeah, but we're
Uh,
getting into old people, though. Are there any young ones?
oh, I'm sure if you asked a younger person, they might have some answers for you.
But
But
they'd be wrong,
Esther,
though. Don't never
I
ask a
hate
young person
I
anything.
I hate to say this to your face,
Uh-huh.
but it's probably true. And I don't like this just as much as you're not going to like it when I say it.
Oh,
But Zendaya,
Zendaya?
yeah,
No way.
yeah.
No way.
If you ask the young people, yes.
Nah, you're insane. You've lost your
No,
mind.
I
Here it
I'm
is,
telling
everybody.
you,
We finally got here.
I'm telling you, not for me, but for the young Americans. Anybody under 30,
How can
yes.
she be? She can't act. It's like paper, wet paper
They
dangling in
love
front
her.
of you.
They still love her.
Yeah, but dude,
They
she
do.
literally can't. She has zero charisma. Zero.
Not saying she should be. I agree with you. I'm
Well,
just
that
saying
now.
she is.
All right, you okay? I can disagree. Maple Chic makes a very good point. Jim Varney as Ernest P. Worrell is a national treasure. That is true.
That is
That is true.
accurate. Pure
That is true.
accuracy coming out of Maple Chic right now.
Yeah.
We will never have another Ernest P. Worrell.
Yeah.
It just won't happen. That character is transcendent. And the
Yeah.
worst part about it is Varney was such a good actor, but that's what his nut was. That's the thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually seen him do it. He did. It was in some giant crocodile movie.
Yep.
And it was a bad B movie, but he was pretty good in it though.
Yeah, he was a good actor. I mean,
Yeah.
look what he did with Ernest. He made Ernest a thing.
Yeah.
You don't do that unless you're doing something right.
Yeah, we haven't seen a character like that in a while. Of course, you got the Ernest character, Pee Wee
Oh,
Herman.
so Chester, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. They dropped. Remember, we were talking about what's his name? Qui-Gon, the guy who plays Qui-Gon, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam
We're talking
Neeson.
about Liam Neeson's. They're making a Naked Gun reboot with him as.
Well, we
Drebin.
mentioned it. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
They dropped a trailer this week.
No.
They did, and it's good.
No.
I was like, wait. Is this actually going to be good? Is this actually going to be a comedy? Wait a minute. Am I chuckling? What happened? I don't remember this feeling watching a movie. We're going to see. We're going to see. I think he's going to find it for us, folks. I actually got some solid yucks out of it. And it feels like, this is the important thing, the comedy
all right.
feels like Leslie Nielsen.
This is awfully serious.
Where it could be,
Oh, here we go.
Little girl.
Little
It
girl.
could be really, really dirty.
She's got to sell her
really, really dirty.
Girl Scout cookies.
Little one.
I don't know. Are you sharing? Oh, you're on. Okay, you're over here. You're not sharing to me. That's fine. No, I see that. See?
Well, they went bloody with it.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Frank
They took the slapstick to a whole nother level. Whole nother level. Oh, this is just the teaser. There's a full trailer out there. I watched it.
Hey, Dad. Boy, do I miss you.
So, okay, it is continuation. It is. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Oh, all right. I haven't laughed in a while. It's been a while. Holy
That's what I
crap,
said. I
dude.
said, "Holy crap!" Did I just laugh? There's a full trailer out there. Like that's just the teaser. There's a full trailer.
I don't want to push it
But-
beyond that. You know how they are. But
But it's so shocking that I said, "Wait a minute, a comedy, a real one? Wait a minute, we're not allowed to do those anymore. We haven't done one of those in forever."
that was funny,
And with
dude.
Liam, of all people, not taking himself too serious, I love it.
To be
I love
honest,
it.
I can see it, you know, with him. But that scene where they're all sitting there, crying over their fathers, who
Yeah.
are now dead, and it comes to the
Yes.
black dude. It's got O.J. Simpson. He just
He's like,
kind of not. He
"No,
just shakes his head
no."
at the camera. That's funny shit, dude.
That is Naked Gun humor. That's perfect.
It is.
That whole setup's perfect because it's surreal. It's a surreal moment, and they may have nailed it. If the whole trailer's even better, they may have nailed it. If they pull this off, my friend, we might have a renaissance of slapstick comedy, and we could use it because
We
my
could,
God, do I
yeah.
love slapstick comedy. It's so stupid, but I love it so much.
It's hard
Like
to
the,
do, though,
he
dude.
slaps
It's really
the guy's arms off and kills him with a lollipop, a sharpened lollipop stem. It's silly.
It
It's
is
silly.
It's supposed to be.
And there's a part in the trailer where very much Naked Gun humor, where somebody's looking through like a binoculars or something into his apartment or into somebody's apartment, and it looks like basically he's getting a blowjob. But they zoom in and she's cleaning out an oven, and it's just the angle's perfect.
Well,
so it
that's
looks
standard Naked Gun humor,
Naked
right?
Gun all day. I said, "Oh my God, are they actually going to pull this off? I can't believe it."
Hmm.
I hope they do. I hope they do. There's a
That's cool.
part of the trailer where he just goes on basically like he gets hungry and he wants to get himself something to eat, and he storms in and pulls out his gun, and you just have to watch it. It's very much Naked Gun. Liam Neeson clearly loved those movies, or at least he learned his lesson for this role. And I can't actually believe that I think he's going to pull this off. As long as the rest of it is as good as the trailer is, or even better, they're going to pull this off, because those Naked Gun movies are great. If you've never seen one of the Naked Gun movies, which I'm sure everybody listening to this has, if it's not your type of humor, you're not going to like it, because it knows what it is and it does not fuck it up. It does not deviate. It goes all the way with it. But if it is your type of humor, that slapstick, over the top, almost
Thanks.
surreal, winking. It's almost like that. It's
Once
basically
you kill a
Deadpool,
man for
right?
revenge,
That's
there's
very
no
same
going back.
style of humor.
I'm running it now, the longer version.
Over and
Yeah.
over.
It's so good. It's
That was
so
awesome.
good.
That was
And
awesome.
I hope. Oh man, I really hope it's as good as it looks.
Detective.
I really hope it's as good as it
Drebin.
looks.
Thanks.
Detective Frank.
Police squad has always been the elite of the elite.
Answer the coffee while he's on the high.
Junior. Love you. Hey, Dad. Boy, do I miss you.
See, they open the trailer, and it looks almost serious, and then they
Frank,
Right,
rips
right.
the guy's arm out.
Need a bathroom. I need this one immediately.
There's a line, man.
Police business. Oh, I'm gonna ruin another suit.
Goodness gracious.
Over here, Lieutenant. I think someone murdered my brother.
Please, take a chair.
Thank you.
I'll find them. This is what I
Yeah,
do.
he needs a
Says he
bathroom.
served 20 years for man's laughter.
You mean manslaughter?
Must have
Manslaughter.
been quite the joke.
Must have been quite
we're
the
going to
joke.
shut down police squad if you do not solve this case. Do this by the book.
Why? Who's gonna arrest me? Other cops?
Yes.
See?
Is he serious?
Is he serious?
No.
What are you doing?
More of a problem than we thought. I want you to keep an eye on him.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Oven
that
is disgusting.
oven's disgusting. Pam's had a little bit of
Rest
a little bit of
assured,
renaissance, huh?
I won't
Yep.
stop until I
Good.
found
She's a good
justice.
actress. I like it.
What do you want, little one?
Your ass.
There it is. Yeah, the blowjob scene.
Man.
Nobody messes
Classic.
with
That is
Fleetwood.
classic.
We've upgraded your car with the most advanced crime-fighting tech.
He's got a
Drive
cue.
Forward 30 feet.
Yep.
Pretty smooth. This place is falling apart.
All right. All right. Fine.
That's what I said. I said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. An actual comedy?
Yeah.
That knows it's a comedy, that isn't trying to be anything other than a comedy? Like,
Liam Neeson, Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, I get it, Alan. Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. I bet the old theme song will be in the movie.
I bet
think
you it
they just
will
used
be.
that for that trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it could be a lot of fun. And I can see Liam. He's always had a good sense of humor, actually.
That's a movie I'll be seeing day one, even if I have to go alone. I'm watching that. That son of a bitch is getting watched. It looks like they did it, which I'm so happy if they do, because man, I love the Naked Gun movies. I love them so much. I grew up watching those damn things. I probably shouldn't have been, but I was. And man, I love them so much.
Well, it's all right. It's all innuendo anyway.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. That's kind of his humor, right? That was a Leslie Nielsen shtick.
Yeah.
He always made you think he was going there, but never fully went there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah,
And
it
Leslie
works.
was always fun. I mean, when he is he dead?
He's gotta be,
He's got to be.
right?
But I don't know. But I love. He's the kind of guy that will go to an interview and actually bring a fart can. I mean, that's him. You know, in real life, not necessarily in the
Yeah,
movie.
he died 15 years ago, Chester.
Oh, wow.
November of 2010. But he was
Wow.
84, so you know.
Sure. Yeah, he was great.
Not
We
bad.
all love. My wife loves those movies as well. So
Yep.
it's one of the Western things she knows quite a bit about. Because over here, it's kind of weird what comes to Asia and what doesn't, right? These days,
Right.
with the cinema situation for the past, I don't know, decade or 20 years even, Hollywood has done a lot to bring as much as they can into Asia to make money. But before that, it was more limited, right? And of course, especially with TV, like I grew up with a whole bunch of stuff, but my wife doesn't know those things, but she knows Little House on the Prairie
Right.
because that was syndicated over here. But anyway, nevertheless, there you go, guys. That's our show today. Kind of the same nonsense going on in the world. Nothing really different, although the Iran thing was that was quick. And movies haven't got out of the cycle yet. They're still stuck in the woke cycle, and it makes sense
Well,
because
they were made then, so
Yeah.
it's going to take a little time,
it's going to
filter it
take some
out.
time. And I hope it all burns itself out because
But
it's
oh man, we could use some Naked Gun irreverence. So if they pull this off, you wanna really start burning that shit down.
Yeah.
Have a big hit comedy where they just make fun of it like crazy. Because Naked Gun would do it. They wouldn't care. They go after anything. Yeah.
well, they
that could
went
be good.
after a black man.
Yes, they sure did. Now that's one that we're allowed to for some reason. Everybody's just accepted he was a
Why?
piece of shit.
He
so
was
we
he
get it.
was found innocent.
He was acquitted of a crime he definitely committed. So it's fine.
But do we know that though? Do
He
we know?
admitted it. He
Did
wrote
he?
a book about if he wrote a book in the negative with a negative admission. He basically
If
said
I
if
did
I
it.
did it, and then described the exact crime that he would have committed. He
Right.
did it.
Fine.
And it's, you know what? He beat the system because the system didn't want to convict him because of X, Y, or Z, race, whatever. Cool. Great. The bitch probably deserved it. How about that? I'll say this. I'll say that. I'm with Chris Rock. I understand. That woman took all his money, was out banging some other dude in his vehicle, in his house. Like, I'm not saying you should do it, but I can understand. As Chris
understandable.
Rock once famously said.
Well, it is understandable. I mean, no, justice and law are not the same thing.
That's right.
They're really not.
That is correct.
And there's plenty of, people who get things they deserve, and
Yes.
punishment comes anyway. It's
Well,
definitely
he got
true.
his anyway. He didn't get away with nothing.
Well, he
and it
got
just isn't,
sued.
you know,
Yeah, civilly he lost.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, he went to jail for a while for fraud or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, but it was over his Heisman Trophy,
Yes.
which was another bullshit thing. It really was bullshit. But yeah, they got him. because they can't let you get away with that, right?
No,
But nevertheless, it is what it
no, no.
is. We'll talk to you guys next week. In
Yeah.
2 days, we will be finishing Dungeon Delve in Puffin's thing. In 2 weeks from that, and not this Tuesday, but the next Tuesday, I got to talk to everybody. We're probably having a guest come in and doing a one shot, which you might want to join us for, Thundero, for
Mhm.
that Bones Art and Johan steampunk tabletop role playing game system. They're going to come in, have one of their guys, the designers, run it for us in a one
Cool.
shot. So that should be fun. But that'll be next week, not tomorrow, not this week. And then what are we doing on Drawn a Quarter Ultimate Edition? I think I forget what we're doing, but it's going to be fun. So take us out of here, man.
Going to be a good time. I'm going to do your favorite one because it kind of plays off what I was saying earlier when I'm talking about what I was talking about with emotional mastery. It's something I've actually been putting a lot of brain power to lately. As I get older, I don't like my temper. I don't like spirals. I don't like negative emotion.
Yeah.
So one of the things, the only thing you can do when you have that is you just have to fix it. You can sit there and wallow in it and talk about woe is me and put a bunch of drugs in your body, but that's not fixing it. That's hiding it. You got to fix it. And the only way to fix it,
The
the
tick.
only way to master it, yes, to master it is to never stop. Because the master is not the one who completes his training. The master is the one who never stops.
That's right. Namaste. And Alan's right. Next week is the tick. Later, everybody.
Bye.